Hello, you Weeb Trash. We're Weeb Trash as well. I'm Cody.
I'm D.
I'm Seve.
And we're back for another episode that is possibly going to be structured a little more differently. And yeah, so I guess we'll just jump right into it. Dean, what are you watching that only you were watching?
Nothing, unless you count One Piece, but don't need to get into that.
Okay, so
There's a highlighted thing here that none of us are watching. But that's
Okay, so give us 10 words on what has happened in One Piece in the last week. We won't understand it, but that's okay. Someone out there might. I don't know.
Luffy's punching people.
Okay, 3 words. Great. I just imagine that describes like 80% of that series at the very least. Cool.
If you want specifics, they're in the Thriller Bark arc, which I know doesn't mean anything, but those that
yes,
do watch it know which one it is. So
obviously.
I've made it all the way to the Thriller Bark arc, so they've got
Michael Jackson as a dog doing the Thriller dance. Gotcha. We all know what's going on.
You know, it is a skeleton that is musical and dances. So
See, never seen the show. Already calling it.
I was just
Gun
gonna
them all over again.
I was gonna say it's their theme park date episode, but I could be wrong.
no. Other than that, no, just the same concurrents weeklies
Cool.
that we're all watching. I guess we'll all discuss together.
Yeah, we get the little shit out of the way, like One Piece.
Oh yeah, the little
Yeah.
little show called One Piece. out
Yeah,
of
just
way.
the small little, we don't need to spend words on those things. Why use many word when few word work? Sevi, what are you exclusively
Can't tell. Are
watching?
you wanting to see the world, or are you wanting to go to Sea World?
Both. You can see the world at SeaWorld. You travel the oceans. That's like 70% of the world, right?
Let's see. I think the only thing I'm watching currently that you guys aren't now is just the greatest demon lord reborn as a typical nobody.
Okay, you got 10 words. What's happening?
If I can remember what it was. Let's see. Got boring. Restarted twice. Still couldn't pay attention.
8 words. Great. Demon Lord in
I guess I
another
could
world.
add in
Oh, yeah.
started last episode twice. The latest one that came out.
Oh, yeah, there we go. Meet the word limit there, I suppose. Great. That sounds like a thriller of a show. I will definitely never watch that show.
Yeah.
Much like One Piece, I will probably never watch that show. Great. Okay. So are we doing 10 words on all of the shows as a collective or just each show? Because I have like 3, I think, that you guys aren't watching.
I'd say each show.
Okay, sick. That's easier in some instances.
That would be a lot harder.
Okay, so Legends of the Galactic Heroes. Young, prison, bullshit, political drama, big battle. Cool, great. We got 7 words there. I can count. Yeah, political shit. That's all that happens in that show. Okay, what other... Let's see, what's the... Vinland Saga. Okay. Thorfinn, Naruto runs a lot. Thorkel, big boy, really good fight. Oh, how am I gonna fit 2 words in this? Does Jesus lift? There we go.
Nope. Gotta cut out that last one. You just got the last 2 is just does Jesus.
Does Jesus? I mean, the Vikings had that question a lot, so. Okay, how the fuck am I gonna fit Naruto into fucking 10 words? Okay.
Well, that's different. I like talking about Naruto.
Okay,
We've all seen
sick,
it.
great. Because so I'm at 145. I have 5 episodes until I can skip the rest of this bullshit and to ship it in. So I got through the Naruto Sasuke fight, and that fight is pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
Animation's pretty sick. A bunch of Itachi's backstory gets cut into it, which kind of wish was edited different, but whatever, that shit happens. I also came to the realization that Naruto shadow clones are basically just Mr. Meeseek's prototypes, basically. They're there just to make the Rasengan work. That's it. It works. They're gone. Let's go. Let's see. Naruto got fucking stabbed at one point. I did not expect it just like to get fucking impaled.
Yeah.
Then we see Naruto's red evolution into Flareon Naruto. He gets to be Fire Boy. He fucking suplexes Naruto so hard he breaks his goddamn neck. That was kind of brutal. I was like, oh my god. Like, it had the sound. They had like him sitting up straight, then just kind of flopping over. You're like, oh Jesus. Fuck, Naruto's not dead as hell. But yeah, that final fight, the budget is all there. Like, they're like, let's reuse a bunch of animation so we can throw that shit. This is the Tokyo Ghoul keyboard scene. Let's throw all the budget there. And then I think maybe that fight ends like 141 maybe.
When they kill color, they like go towards each other and like it turns gray.
Yeah. So after the fact, it feels like there's an episode or two of them being like, oh yeah, Naruto almost died, Choji almost died, Neji might be dead, we don't know yet. I mean, he's not dead obviously, but you know, week to week you'd be like, oh god damn, Neji's dead. I'm kind of indifferent, but all right. Shikamaru's dad's kind of a huge asshole, but that's aight, you know, he's just in the hospital being like, Shikamaru, you fucking suck, get good. And then yeah, it just feels like a bunch of filler. Like, they tried to go break Sasuke out again. I feel like that ship has sailed. It's like, guys, Sasuke wants to be alone. Let him have his feelings out with Orochimaru snake things. They don't see Sasuke again, though. I haven't gotten back to that. They do break out the weird sound ninja people that kind of all suck.
Yeah.
But that was the last thing that happened. Feels like a lot of filler until I get to like 150, so I can just be like, okay, Naruto's back in the hospital. Let's go to ship it in.
Are those the sound people that like tried to interrupt the Chunin exam thing?
No, all those guys got for the most part, I think. Like some variation of one of the Shikamaru team or the Sand people pretty much killed all those people, I think.
Okay.
These are like the OG sound ninjas before Orochimaru was like, hey, do you guys want to join the dark side?
Oh yeah. The ones that were in the exams with him.
Maybe. It's different people. I didn't see any of those guys, but that might make some sense as to why like these random like sound ninja were like, hey, can you help us like break my cousin out of jail, Orochimaru jail?
Zen, we go bowling.
Yeah, basically. Nico was just like, let's go bowling, man.
So he said nope.
Orochimaru was like, no. No.
You don't want to go bowling with Roman?
No.
Best thing about that is after a certain point in the game, he stops calling you to ask.
He gets the message. He's like, oh damn, okay, fine. I'll bowl by myself.
Cousin, see titties.
You know,
So you wanted to go see titties, or do you want see titties like mermaids?
See titties.
to each their own, I guess. I don't know. Orochimaru likes snakes. That guy likes mermaid titties. It's fine. But yeah, so that's Naruto. I will next week finish those 5 episodes and then do just kind of like my overall thoughts on the OG series. Because I'm not going to watch the fucking rest of that. This little bit of filler is already like, none of this shit needed to be here. Why is this happening?
What was the last episode?
So the last couple of episodes after they've left the hospital, Sakura and Naruto venture out to go find Sasuke again. Then Jiraiya tags along with them because he's like, y'all gonna get killed. Like, bruh, no, right. This is stupid. Why Sakura? Why can you not just understand someone's gonna kill you? So they're venturing around. The old, like, shamed sound people who didn't side with them, Orochimaru, try to get them to do some shit, and then they try to get that one girl's cousin out of Orochimaru control, but he's already been, like, morphed and fucked up and explodes or something.
Okay.
And that's the last thing that has happened. So I imagine none of this, unless they run into Sasuke again, but I get the vibe that that's not gonna happen, because like Orochimaru just walked in and he was like, yeah, your cousin's fucked, bye, and just leaves. And you're like,
I can't remember if this is if I've skipped all that.
I'm not gonna
Who
lie,
knows?
none of this seems important. And
It doesn't seem important at all.
I feel like Naruto's gonna end back up in the hospital, so I can be like, oh great, I can just, because he was already in the hospital after the Sasuke fight, and Jiraiya was like, we're gonna go train once you get better, because you have 3 years
Yeah.
before the Akatsuki tries to gank you.
Yeah, you might as well just skip to 220.
Oh great. Cool, 220. Jeez, are
Trying to
you
think.
fucking for real? 220?
Yeah, the rest of all that's just filler.
Yeah.
Like some of it's kind of cool. Like the episode 220 is gonna be like the last. It's gonna be like the ending of a fight of an arc that they were doing in the filler. So when you start that episode, you're gonna be like, "What the fuck is going on?"
Yep.
Great. I'll never be
And
more lost.
As Dean told me, it's really only important for like one thing that gets mentioned,
Yeah,
Great. Okay,
and
so
that's like at the end of the actual like episode too.
okay, so
Did we even watch the full episode, or did we just like skip to the last like 5 or 10 minutes?
I think I don't know, because it begins with like them beating whoever they're beating, and then everyone goes back to the Hidden Leaf Village to resume their training.
that's great.
Okay, so it might just be like,
And then
yeah, I think that's what it
Tintin-
was. It was just like the
Tintin-
fight ends. They mention the one thing that's important,
they
and
go
they
back to the
kind of
village.
go back, and then they're
Tintin-
just like, "We're gonna go do our time to go back to training," which was essentially like
what they were gonna do anyway.
what they were gonna do. So it's like whenever they went off to do their training beforehand,
Mhm.
I guess that's where the manga had like stopped, and they were like, "Oh, we got to catch up," and that's where they just started throwing in the filler, from what I can
Great.
understand.
Okay, so I'll watch episode.
And now it's just like,
220
okay,
next
filler's all
week.
done. This is the only thing you really need to know. And look back, we just like almost like as if the last 100 episodes didn't mean anything.
Okay, so I'll do that next week. I'll just watch one episode of Naruto, and then just my thoughts on Naruto. So we'll
They-
do that.
They show back up to the village, and Tintin's like, "Y'all went on a mission. Why didn't I go?"
As a side note,
Girl.
I really enjoy that kind of all of the like one of the most useless characters gets like one of the most prominent like roles as a retailer in Shinobi Strikers.
Yeah.
It's like,
Oh,
hey
yeah.
Tintin, will you look at the scroll for me? Okay, cool, bye. I'm out.
Bye.
Hey Sakura, can I put this on my character? Sure, I guess. And then go back about your day.
If you want to watch the rest of that little arc, it's like 216 to 220. It's a lot of Gaara's in it a lot, so it's like because
like Gaara.
it has to do with him being a Jinchuriki. It has to do with the Shikaku.
what? Oh, Jeep Grand Cherokee. Gotcha.
Chief Grand Cherokee.
Great. Okay. I might watch that then, just to like fill that Naruto space out. And I like Gaara.
I
so
didn't. I have no idea what was going on. I just know the one important thing that I needed to, and I'm
great.
about.
I think it's funny in the last episode. It's the end of the fight, and then it's like, oh, back to the village.
It's like, okay, well we're done. We're gonna go back to what we were doing.
And Adra's like,
Great.
yep, we're gonna go and train for 2.5 years.
Good, good, Jiraiya. You go steal the small child's money and go to bars or brothels or wherever the fuck Jiraiya ends up sometimes.
Anywhere that has women,
Pretty much, you know. If
doesn't matter what it is. Old pervy sage.
I bet he ends up in a lot of nail salons because women there, and he's like, "Whoa, hey, you're sitting down. This is great. Do my nails."
All right. So, do you want to start just kind of going down the list?
Yeah.
of
Okay.
what
So
we've all
we'll.
been watching. I'm
Yeah.
gonna start keeping a timer just so I know like how long we've been talking on a
Great.
specific subject.
Cool. Okay.
So I think first on the list that we are all currently watching is Skelly Knight,
Yeah.
or the actual name was it Skeleton Knight in Another World?
Yeah.
Yes.
Latest dubbed episode. Everybody watch that one.
Yeah, I watched it this morning.
Yeah.
Same.
So did anyone else feel like the elf mom is all about Archie? She's like,
Oh
"Hey,
yeah.
I'm gonna leave my husband for Archie," because she's about Archie, man. To like, or maybe she just wanted a weird skeleton son. She's like, "Hey,
I kind of got that at first, but then it got to that point where she was just like,
I want to see if you're strong enough.
"Yeah,
Yeah.
I got to see if you're strong enough." So,
Yeah.
because something seemed off about her the entire time, and then once she started fighting him, that's when she seemed like she was like being serious and being more of like who she was and what she was about.
Mhm.
So I feel like a lot of it was just like her, one, just being an incredible fighter,
yeah,
but seeing like, okay, like you helped my daughter out. I still have my reservations about you, but I like you all right. But like, I need to see like, because they even said like a thing about dark elves or something like that, was that they measure somebody by like their combat efficiency or something like that. I think was said. So I
just
think
funny
that
because she kicks his ass super hard.
Yeah, I think
It's
that
like-
was
it's
them
like
seeing like, oh, this is this is her judging him now.
Yeah.
Like everything else is just her being polite and everything. This is when she really gets a feel for who he is.
It's like you got that min-max strength build. I got that min-max dex and agility build.
Basically.
Yeah.
The whole curse uncurse thing at the end was pretty nuts. I was like,
Yeah. Turned his
Yeah,
hand and human. Interesting.
that
what-
was interesting.
I wonder if that's gonna be a timed effect though. I bet like the next episode, it's like, oh, I'm back to a skeleton. Like it's like a
Well-
temporary thing. I can't imagine them
Possibly.
because like, what is the elf people gonna do when he walks up in that like lake thing they're talking about? He's like, oh, I'm almost all human, or my arm is human, just for some reason. Don't ask.
Yeah, and I like how he's like, I'm just gonna do it on the tip of my finger, and then it's like,
His
oh,
whole
hand.
fucking arm.
whole arm.
Oops.
That shit.
So
was
I
crazy.
I'm curious to see how that goes about.
Technically, we saw him naked.
We did. He was in the bath
It was
with
bone,
his bones.
bones and all. Bones and all.
It's like kind of funny because like he looked like I want to say he was like on his side in there, so it just looked like there was
Yeah,
this like
like a
skeleton
corpse.
just floating.
Yeah,
And it took her a second to be like, oh, that's Archie. He's
more than just a second, because she did blow him up.
yeah.
That's true.
I feel bad for like their house if that's what like that was their house and not like a communal bath. It's like, oh, thanks, daughter, for blowing a hole in our fucking wall and our bathtub being destroyed. Now no one else can bath. Are you happy now?
No one can bath.
But it does seem like they're
That's
going to
what
get
I
a little bit more into like the treaty they had, like with the
Yeah.
humans, because that was something that the previous episode they talked about from the kingdom side.
Mhm.
Like, oh, this was really bad because we kind of violated the treaty, and this could start a war with the elves, and we really don't want that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So like you see that the humans are just like, ooh boy, that lord really fucked shit up, huh? And then the elves are just like, oh boy, just like attacking that's not great, like, you know. And they really drive home the point that the elves live longer. So like for them, it was just like a generation ago that the war happened, but for the humans, it's been long ago, essentially.
Yeah, they're like, no one's still alive.
From
Humans.
on the human side, from
That
when
made
this
it.
treaty was done, that fought during that war.
Yeah, that's kind of a nice thing you don't get a lot like in isekai in general, like because they were just overlooked because like no one ever, a lot of them don't end up putting too much thought into stuff like that. So
Yeah.
good on Skeleton Knight for kind of building its world out a little bit. It's up there. It's doing pretty decent.
I'm thoroughly enjoying it so far.
Yeah, no
Yep.
no more sexual assault this episode, so move in the right
That's
direction.
a huge bonus.
Hell yeah.
All right. So, yeah, we got through that in under 5 minutes.
Yeah, we're doing it. Organization,
Doing great.
synergy,
Let's see what's next on the list.
other corporate phrases.
That's the one I was watching. Oh yeah, I started rewatching the first season of Shield Hero, so I can start season 2.
Mm. See, I think I don't really want to watch the whole season again. I need to watch like the last part because I started the first episode of Shield Hero season 2, and I'm just like, I
Don't
don't
remember
care.
what exactly all happened.
I remember kind of what happened. I just didn't care.
Yeah, yeah,
I was like,
I can
oh.
get that. For me, it was just like I was like, I should do that, but I think I was thinking about something. I think I started watching the second season of something else not too long ago, and I got like part of the way through one episode, and I'm just like, who the fuck is that? Why the fuck do I care about this? And then like I went back to watch the first season. It's like, oh yeah, that shit happens, and oh yeah, I forgot about this shit. And so it's like I just was remembering. It's like a nice refresher on who these people are, events that have happened, why I care. But the next one that we're all currently watching is Trapped in a Dating Sim.
Yay.
This
The world
episode
of
was good.
Atame games is tough for mobs.
I
So
really like this one.
Yeah, this was a good episode.
I have caught up on everything that's out of this show so far.
Sick.
Yeah, it was the jet bike race was the last one.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
nice.
Starting the timer on this one.
Cool. I love that this high school is all about gambling. Like there was
I
the
think
whole
he's just about gambling.
Well,
He
no-
really,
yeah, like he's into it, but
but
it's
like,
a thing because like
Oh,
the
yeah.
the mech fights, a bunch of people lost money, so that's why
Yeah.
they hate Leon. But they
Yeah.
did it here too, and just like yes, let's teach our high schoolers to gamble away their fortunes at school. I love it.
so is anybody? For me, he had that teacher that bet on him. He's the only person that bet on him.
oh, like
yeah.
his master guy.
His
Yeah, his
master.
master.
Yeah.
I am
guy.
getting a like less exaggerated, goofy version of the Ellen guy from Spy Family.
Yeah, every time I see him, I'm like, oh shit, it's that guy, and I'm like, oh no, it's not.
He's talking about it, and I keep like every time he does something right, I expect him to be like, "How elegant!"
I just like the
Because it's
idea
like-
that that one character is in like 3 different shows now. He's in
Yeah.
Spy Family, he's in Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, and now he's here.
Yeah,
Guess Bliss time.
It is fun. It is funny. It is interesting how it's his sister that is like almost the antagonist of the game now.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
it's for sure his sister at this point.
Like,
There's
yeah,
like
yeah,
no,
Well, she
it's-
said that she like is like, oh man, I got my brother to do this for me
yeah,
Yeah.
and all this. So like, I am curious about if like, I guess does this mean like she died at some point?
That's what I want to
As
know. I want to
well?
know if like she died too and she got trapped, or I don't know.
plot
and
twist,
I
apocalypse
guess we have to
happened.
just assume that he
Everybody
actually did die. All we know is that he went outside to get something and then he like passed out downstairs,
Mhm.
and it just like I think he assumed he died, but I wonder if this is just some other weird isekai bullshit where they just got teleported, and that's why
Yeah.
him and his sister got teleported. His
The-
sister in the real world, not his in-game sister, because
Yeah.
that's apparently
Yeah.
That's also another thing.
yeah, like I love the idea that this game is so fucking cursed that it just Jumanji's people into their
Yep.
into their world. I don't know if it is going to be it. I kind of hope they tell us, but I kind of feel like they're not going to because I guess there's no reason to. I did like that he is called Shovel Knight. He is the Shovel Knight, and you see it in the OP as well that like he's flying into combat with a shovel. I'm like, okay,
Shovel.
this guy he's truly become Shovel Knight. Loving it. At some point he gets to, I think I can't remember, not Angie, not the like actual like our Duke's daughter or whatever, but the like commoner friend he has. I can't remember her name. That's
the
like
protagonist from the whoever the actual protagonist in the game was.
whatever her name is. I can't remember. Starts talking to him like a dog, and he's super into it. I'm like, oh my
Oh
god.
yeah. He's just going on to be like a naughty puppy or something like that.
Yeah, it's just like, oh Jesus, this guy's finding fetishes he didn't know he had.
This man is a degenerate.
Huge
Yeah.
degenerate.
Like,
yeah.
just,
Oh,
like that, that
was it
cackle he
last
has,
episode that he met the queen?
and what told her to marry her.
Yeah, he's all about
Yeah.
it. He's like, yo, what's
marry
good?
me.
He's like,
She's like,
MILF.
Milk. Pretty much.
He's like, marry me.
He's hitting
like,
all of the high
He pump
notes.
the brakes.
She's like,
Uh,
I'm too old. He's like, I don't give a fuck.
Olivia is her name.
Olivia.
The former protagonist. who should have been the protagonist, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna forget that before we stop talking about it because
That's perfectly fine.
I just
I would
she is kind of like she had kind of a big role in this episode, being like,
Yeah.
I don't want to be your pet, but I was like, shut the fuck up. We got more important things to talk about, like Rudy being the commentator of the bike race. I'm 110% that's Rudy is like versus like I don't know, but I was like, no, that's Rudy. That's a you didn't even try to like do a different voice. That's just like pre Isekai Rudy. It's like, yep, it's that guy.
Nice.
Love that guy.
Him and red haired guy. I can't remember his name. Dan.
Yeah, Dan.
Dan. Yeah, Dan. Him and
Redhead
he
guy.
the dude bro that he teamed up with, or that saved his life from when his bike exploded.
Yeah, the guy that was
Oh.
like, I hate hot guys too.
Yeah.
And they're
Yeah,
best
we both
friends
hate-
now.
We both hate hot guys. He was part of the Prince's inner circle.
Yeah, and he was whoever's
Oh,
slave
the,
or whatever. I can't remember who it was.
the
Yeah.
dude. Wait, the red-haired dude in the Prince's inner circle, or the dude with like red streak in his hair that saved him from the?
Oh,
That's
Red
the same guy.
Streak. No, they're two that are different guys. Now I think about it.
Is it really?
Yeah, because the red-haired guy in the prisoner circle, his whole hair is red.
Is red.
The bike guy Dan, he's got like a red swoosh, and the rest of it's like a gray-brown color. I think.
Yeah, and he's part of what's her name's
I have
little
no
clique.
fucking idea what her name is.
Some
Ex-fiance
red-haired
person. I can't
yeah
remember.
of green hair.
The
of,
like
Jilk
yeah,
was
that
his
guy.
green hair's name. So I think
Jilk?
what's her name?
Yeah, that guy.
Clarice,
Sure.
I think was her name.
Clarice.
She's never gonna come back up again, probably. So I don't care what her name is at this point. I did like that hair loop bitch came back and was being a big old bitch, and then got
Big old
fucking
bitch.
decked. Like Angie was like, "I'm done with you. Like, I'll beat you right here and now on this floor at this gambling house." Yeah, Angie goes hard. Angie's 10-10 protagonist. Let's go. But yeah, that show.
That
is
other
really
dude
good.
is really mentioned, I guess, much more. I'm looking at just like the character list.
Main
on
red-haired
that.
guy or Dan?
The cool one. The one was like, I hate hot guys too.
I hate
Oh,
hot
yeah.
guys too.
I can't imagine
He's
he'll
broke.
pop back up again, probably.
It's a shame.
That's a shame.
Because he is like that other girl's slave, so I don't think he's gonna come back unless someone buys him out of her slavery thing. This world is weird.
Some of these, it's a good show, but some of these characters are forgettable.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you know,
Because
Which
like I
I
didn't
guess
even
is-
make. the
might be like a
connections.
take on like the genre of game. I don't know.
Yeah.
The visual novel dating sims.
it's
yeah.
it's a very meta comment on the actual
'cause
world.
It seems like it takes a lot of like pop shots at that genre.
Oh yeah.
I think the closest I've gotten to play anything like that was Boyfriend Dungeon.
Hey, that was pretty good though.
It was good. It was a super solid game. But
Cool.
They did it.
all right, so went 7 minutes on that.
It's a lot to say.
So Love After World Domination. We'll go ahead and start that.
I literally only
Alright.
put 3 words in my notes, and it was Decimi versus Green Guy, and that's the whole episode. Decimi just rocks that guy super hard.
You know when
Yeah, so I'm completely caught up on this show. As well.
when we were
Oh,
when
I
we've
should have
been,
waited for you to say that.
when we've been watching this, I'm like, okay, it's like there's like while I've been watching it, I'm like, all right, the green guy, like who the fuck, like because he's never said anything.
Yeah.
And then we finally get like a full episode with him. We get everything about him. We get backstory.
Yeah, he's
Yeah, so I'm
probably
assuming
the
that-
most developed other than Fudo.
He's not gonna come back up anymore.
Oh, probably, yeah, no.
Because I mean, oh, what's her name? Let's see if I can
Destiny?
find. No. Haru?
Pink Ranger? Oh, yeah, Pink
Pink
Yeah.
Ranger? She kind of has a little bit of backstory stuff in that one episode where she's like,
In love
"Oh,
with Toto.
I love like Fodo,
Toto.
Fudo.
Fudo."
Fudo. Not Toto. That's Jujutsu.
Yeah.
It's a very different
Like,
muscle
oh
man.
yeah, it's like I love Fudo, and she's like, Decimi, like I want to fight you for his love, and she's like, okay, and just like whoops her ass.
Bodies that bitch just bam.
But then like she sees like how much like Fudo cares for her and she cares for him, and she's like, all right, like, well, yeah, I do like him, but you know, y'all are
He's
happy.
happy.
And so she's like, I'll help you out. And pretty much the only thing we see her in since is just like kind of helping them escape and, you know, have a relationship.
Yeah.
I think we see like whenever they're like in a building and like somebody's was it Yellow Ranger that came running up?
I
Or
think
was
it was Blue.
Blue?
I'm like 90% sure because he was like, I don't,
One of them
what's wrong
comes
with
running up.
you? Yeah.
She's like, what's wrong with him? And she's basically like, get the fuck out. You get the fuck out of here right now, you son of a bitch. Didn't say it quite like that, but pretty much was just like, you get the fuck out.
Yeah, she might as
And he was
well.
just like, okay.
I can't
And then
wait
she's
for the
like, I got your
episode
back.
where we get backstory on Blue Guy because I bet he's just a huge scumbag and I'm into it.
I think
Fuckboy Ranger?
I think
Yeah.
we'll get more info on Yellow Ranger first.
She's an alcoholic.
Yeah. I guess they have kind of gone in reverse though, because like Pink was the newest member of the team, then Green I think is like
The oldest.
4 or some
think-
shit.
Mm.
And then I think 3 is Yellow, Blue is 2, and then Fudo's 1. Because like they have numbers on their little wrist thingies.
Yeah, it's.
Or I got that out of order. It doesn't really matter.
I'm
But
pretty
yeah.
sure Green is 5
Oh, okay.
because I think he talks last when in that first episode.
Okay.
I can. I
The
mean,
power-
it's on the first episode. Let me.
The power of
Whenever they're-
pistachio.
So dumb.
I want to know what, like, if Decimi had joined Gelato 5 and had been black gelato, what that flavor is. That licorice? Does
Probably.
anyone eat licorice gelato?
No.
Does anybody enjoy or eat licorice just in general?
Some people, I guess. They make it, probably, still.
Yeah.
I guess. I haven't looked for it, but I assume it's
Yeah,
there.
They still make licorice, yes.
Oh, shit. I wonder if it would have been, like, that weird Squid Ink thing. Like, Burger King Japan had the black burger.
Oh, they
Pretty
did.
Gelato.
Yeah, I wonder if... I don't know what that would taste like, but that seems like a huge gimmick that Japan would be like, let's go.
I don't
Squid
know,
Ink.
but I'd be okay if that was the end of the show. She joined Gelato. She won't.
Yeah.
Blue is 2, yellow is 3, pink is 4, and then green
Green's
is 5.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, so maybe they'll go in order because Blue Guy, the only thing I really care to see from him is him like trying to hit on Beast Princess some more. 'Cause
Yeah.
I just want her to be like, get the fuck out of here. What is your deal? I don't like you. And then Yellow's
is-
just drunk.
Well, and we might get more to actual like her actual backstory than
Mhm.
because pretty much like all we've seen of her so far is that I think that she's older than the others,
Yeah, 'cause she gets drunk.
and yeah, that she drinks, which was great because it was like the date episode.
She's like, I was drunk when I said that.
Don't
Like,
listen to me.
I was drunk. You should not like. Don't listen to anything I say. Like, take her to a nice place. Like, as long as you take her somewhere nice, like, do something that she's wanting to do, and just don't say anything weird. And he's just like, "Oh my god,
What have I done?
I did all of the things wrong."
Well, she still had fun because they really like each other.
Yeah, it's
And I guess
nice. I like it.
I guess we're getting some paparazzo next episode. What it seemed like.
Oh, yeah.
It's either
end, yeah.
it's either that or it's somebody. My guess was like it's probably gonna be somebody within Gecko.
Oh.
And they're gonna be like, she's hanging out with the people at the gelato, and then the leader's gonna be like, you're infiltrating from within. That's a brilliant idea. Because it seems like no matter what she does, like he's just like it's like
Yeah.
we're gonna fuse you with an ape.
With
And
a
she's like, no, and you're like, she's
gorilla.
like, you're such a strong martial artist. You want to get that power on your own. Amazing,
Like,
amazing.
it is weird some of these things I like just get inadvertently spoiled on for like people watching the sub and posting shit on Twitter or Instagram. So I don't know what happens, but I like see pictures. I'm like, oh, I don't know that. I think it's gonna be a love rival thing, but
Oh.
that's kind of a big guess. because from my understanding, no one knows who Decimi is in terms of like her relation to Gecko, outside of the people in Gecko.
I
But
did think it was funny whenever they're talking, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I was actually really, really sad and depressed until I joined Gecko," and he's just like, "She means her pet gecko. It brings her a lot of joy."
yeah, I like that he didn't even think about it. He's like, "That's weird, but okay."
Yeah, he's
Whatever.
just like, all right.
It's not even like she's that well disguised either. She's just like,
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, because she was known as the Reaper
yeah,
back where they were
Yeah.
from, and now she's like the Reaper Princess. It's just
Yeah.
like, it didn't change much.
yeah,
But it is funny seeing how like he remembers this as like this horrible traumatic event, like with this monster, and she's like, "You were the only friend I had.
yeah.
You made stuff bearable for me," and
Yep.
she's still like, "He's going easy on me."
He's like,
And
I'm
just
gonna
I
die.
transformed and got my ass kicked.
Yeah.
Still.
Like
Like,
immediately.
she's a monster. I want to get out of here.
It's amazing.
That's so
Such-
good.
Such a
Yeah,
good show.
so I am really just like, I'm loving this show so far.
Hell yeah.
It's been just so good.
Yeah, like I think this, if Kaguya-sama wasn't airing this season, this would probably be my pick as far as like my favorite, just like fun show. It's just super good. There's nothing else I've watched that's kind of like it. Because like Kaguya-sama's goofy, but it has like, just because its world is goofy, it like ups that ante of like Power Rangers exist. There's stupid ice cream flavors. Gecko is just kind of out here doing some dumb shit too.
But it's also got like this level
Love
of
it.
wholesomeness to it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
And I think that's what makes it really enjoyable. And the fact that, yeah, like Fudo, he's a himbo.
yeah, he's a himbo.
Yep.
But I think part of it is just like his himbo-ness. I'm not sure how much of it is like him actually being dumb, as much of it is like interacting with people has never been a priority.
Mhm.
Like whenever he's like talking about working out and stuff like that, like he's just like, "Oh yeah, you need this much protein powder, like you need to make sure you're doing this, you need this much rest." Like,
Yeah.
he's fairly knowledgeable about working out.
Yeah.
And he knows a lot about that, but it's just like, what do people like to do? What should I do? And he's gone. But like, I think it was she's getting fused with an ape episode. And he talked to her on the phone, and like he could tell something was wrong with her.
So he just
And he's
runs
like, "Give me
over.
1 hour," and he sprints over to her house
Yeah.
just to talk to her. And it's just like,
Hell yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
that, like it's nice, it's sweet, it's wholesome, because he really cares about her, and like you can see that, and like you can also see like how much she likes and cares about him too. But you know, honestly, like if she got turned into an ape, I don't know if Fudo would have cared all that much.
Yeah, I think he might have been into it. He's like, hell yeah, let's go. Let's hit
He
this.
said you'd be the cutest gorilla ever.
Yeah, like I think he just
Didn't do it.
truly cares about her.
Yeah,
Mhm.
And I think that's one of the things that just makes this so freaking wholesome. It just
Yeah.
that's what makes it so much more enjoyable.
yeah. It
We're at 10 minutes on this topic.
hell
Just
yeah.
to-
Next one. Let's go.
Okay, we can keep going. I just want to give everybody an update on how long we've been
Yeah,
talking about that.
I feel like we've said what we needed to about this best show of the season.
Let's see. You talked about that. You already talked about Kaguya-sama.
I super forgot that was one. I did
You didn't
realize.
think about that one?
Yeah, there's two. I don't think I actually took notes because I watched Kaguya-sama last week and forgot about it.
Okay.
So yeah, okay.
Was that your 10-word?
10 words in Kaguya-sama.
right.
Big
me with
sad president moving confession not happened yet. There we go. I also forgot I was watching a couple of cuckoos and didn't say anything about that. Not a lot. Huh?
What?
Oh, I'm
Watching
also
what?
a couple of cuckoos. It's another romance show where they get switched at birth. And like one family's like a big hotel conglomerate owner, and the other one's
Oh,
like
okay.
a poor
Yeah,
restaurant.
yeah. I think I kind of remember you talking about that one. Is that one that's currently airing?
Yeah, I super forgot to watch that too. Sisters meet, both incompetent, funny, arranged marriages suck. There we go. I mean, that can also apply to the show because that's kind of like one of the big premises. But yeah, okay. So next thing we're collectively watching. Let's go.
All right, I'm gonna make sure I
God,
add
I love Kaguya-sama. It's so good.
Is there something else that we're all watching?
Hell yeah, dog.
Family.
Oh yeah, Spy Family.
Yeah, the Spy Fam,
I
dude.
forget about the Spy Family.
The Spy Fam, dog. I do want to say that like Damien looks like he's having a heart attack in the anime because they don't
Yeah.
do that in the like. They do have that moment in the manga, but it's not portrayed the same way. So I'm like, oh shit, Damien's just having a heart attack. Like he is so scared of Anya, he's about to just kill over. But yeah, it's still super wholesome. Love it. The family moments are still killing it. You're it up.
Hell yeah.
A lot of the episodes are going to be like this just because it's school stuff, and we'll get a little bit of Lloyd and a little bit of Yor, and that's, it's mostly Anya and trying to befriend Damien, but successfully only befriending Becky because Becky's coolest bitch on the block. She's like, yo, I'm rich, let's go. I don't remember what her family does, but yeah, she's
I don't know,
big
but she's successfully swooning Damien without even knowing.
yeah, which is weird because she can read his mind, but no idea.
Yeah.
That's aight. You doing good, Anya. You keep it up. You keep punching people in the face. You'll succeed eventually.
I feel like we're seeing a little bit more of Lloyd kind of like breaking down those walls he's put up and like really kind of caring for Anya and a little bit of Yor at the same time.
Yeah, when we gonna get that?
Because you really see as he's starting to think about it, he's just like, he even mentions like, I've been a bad father.
Yeah. It's like she.
And like he's kind of coming to realize it's just like, yeah, I've been bad. And then like getting to talk to Yor, who has experience like essentially being around like another like young kid, like because like we saw in Floyd's backstory that he had literally nobody.
Yeah,
like he looked like he was like in war-torn country.
Yeah,
by himself. So he didn't have any of that sort of interaction. He didn't know how to interact with anybody like that. So having Yor, who had that younger brother, and being able to talk about that and like really give him like some guidance on like, let's try some like positive reinforcement on what she's doing well and all that stuff, I think was good. And then like seeing that she's trying so hard to make him proud and like fell asleep studying, and he was like, all right, yeah, we'll record your show, put you down to bed. Like we see him like acting more of a father, I think, in this last episode.
Yeah, I think this is the spot where he kind of has the realization that he can't do spy stuff to be successful in this mission. He has to like actually do the whole family thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think in the next few episodes we see them contemplate getting a dog, and then they get a dog.
Okay.
Is like protection and kind of like trying to teach on your responsibility and stuff. Normal parent shit, I guess. And you start seeing, I really hope we get it this season because it's like one of the funnier parts I remember from the manga. Lloyd and Yor start having date nights to kind of help sell that they're a couple. And I think that happens after Yor's brother comes to meet Lloyd.
Okay, because we just at the end of the last episode we saw essentially, because we'd only seen him talk to Yor on the phone, and so he like works for the government or something like that.
Yeah, he's effectively. She says he works for like foreign affairs or something, but he's basically secret police. So there's a whole thing there. It's
so
pretty intense.
Basically, from the context, that I'm getting from the show, it seems like we're looking at like East and West Germany, essentially.
Effecto, I think that's the vibe it's trying to play off of. Yeah,
Because that's what I'm getting the feel of. Because I feel like Floyd is like, you know, from like West Germany and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then he's going over into East Germany, which was more of like Russian controlled, because you've got like what's his name's father, who definitely feels like he has more like Russian vibes.
Yeah, Damien's dad.
Yeah,
because I think that his dad's like a high-ranking party official or the head of the party or some shit. I can't remember exactly.
It's somewhere high up in there.
Yeah.
Desmond. That's his name.
Yeah, Damien Desmond.
I'm looking forward to kind of seeing what exactly that happens, and then I was realizing, you know, you got Floyd who's a spy, and then Yor who is an assassin and has taken on jobs because she's like, I got to do what I can to protect the country and all this stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're on the same side though.
Oh yeah, they're super not. Because I don't. It never explicitly states, I don't think, but it's very heavily implied that Yor's brother 100% knows that Yor's an assassin. Because I think he references her boss. I can't remember what they call him. So she is an assassin for their side, but it's like not 100% clear if it's like the spy agency or if it's like just a group within the country. But yeah, they're
so I didn't know if it was
going to
be
sides.
Like whenever he mentioning her boss, if it was going to be her boss as like her was it her handler for the assassin stuff?
Yeah, the assassin
because
stuff, yeah.
She does have the boss for like
the city hall stuff, yeah. Yeah, he
with all of them.
I'm like 90% sure he name drops whoever she calls her boss for assassin stuff. I cannot remember his name. Like, he has a code name that she uses, and I just don't remember who it is. But yeah, he at least seems privy to know that she's doing something on the side, and I'm like 90% sure he knows.
So we gotta count on freaking Anya bringing them together.
Yeah. It's interesting that almost every person in the main cast has something, right? It's like Lloyd's a spy, Yor's an assassin, her brother Yuri is secret police, but she doesn't know he's secret police. She thinks he just works like some office gig.
Yeah.
Anya's telepath, and then the dog has its own thing that like it kind of.
I guess when we meet the dog at some point.
Yeah.
All right.
And then later down the road, they add a couple more people, but it's a hot minute before the cast gets expanded again. That would probably be like season 2 or maybe 3, depending on how many episodes they shove in. But yeah, it's good. Like, yeah.
I'm still loving it.
Yeah, we will see a lot more school stuff. So like Becky is going to start being more of a prominent character. But yeah, we'll have a couple of kind of one-off spots where like they go out on a family date, or Anya goes on like a weird mission that she just decides to undertake for some reason because Anya things. But yeah, we'll see Mr. McElligott and Becky a fair bit more.
And Anya keeps showing up in all the manga panels of every other shonen.
Yeah, I love that people are just editing her into everything. You're like, yeah, Anya can beat Goku one-on-one. Let's go. Anya, yeah, it's a true multiverse.
I do love the Tamagotchi thing that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's just like, man, I feel bad if like one of my favorite like Pokemon in my party gets like just faints. Like I feel bad about that. Like, can you imagine
if you killed Anya?
Anya's dead.
The Tamagotchi and then just being like, I killed Anya.
What have I done? Turning myself into the police.
You'd be safer that way. Could you imagine having Floyd and Yor coming after you?
Yeah, you'd be dead very quickly.
You use your body for a math problem.
Yeah.
God
damn Yor. She's the best. Oh,
Yeah,
God.
it's a great show.
Yeah, 10 out of 10.
All right, so 9 minutes, not bad.
Yeah.
Oh, we did miss one, I think.
What do we miss?
Or oh no, we're getting to it. Shikimori.
Hell yeah. So only you and
That
me are
was one.
watching this. I don't think
Oh,
Dean's
it's-
watching this, right?
Okay.
Yeah, you keep
Yeah.
telling me it's bad. Why am I gonna watch it?
Okay. So I thought about this a lot because I was like, Shikamori for me is like, as Gigik would put it, true mid, right? And I wanted to be like, how do I phrase that in a better way so people aren't just like, this show is garbage? And I figured it out. Shikamori is the white bread of anime. It serves as a good base, but it has no spice to it, right? It has not a lot of unique stuff, but like the base romance is there. It's just, there's nothing really compelling outside of it. So if you like the interaction, that's the whole point of the show. They just don't do anything kind of extra other than like Shikamori's cool as fuck and everyone loves Shikamori. And Izumi kind of just like trying his best, but just kind of sucks because the universe hates him. Which has been done better in my opinion, but
to me, it's just a more of like a wholesome slice of life anime, like romance anime.
Yeah, like this kind of in comparison to the wholesome moments, because there's some very similar ones between like Love After World Domination and this episode of Shikamori, where Izumi's like, oh, Shikamori's so cute, whatever, kind of like Fudo does for Desumi. But I feel like Desumi and Fudo have more kind of there because the like weird, unique setting. And it just like Shikamori doesn't. They do a little bit of it this episode, so I'm like hoping we get to see more of this flashback. But they reference to a point in time where Izumi and Shikamori are not dating because you don't see that build up. You just see them dating, and you're like, oh, well, okay, that it exists, it's established, fine. But yeah, I mean, it kind of lacks like the comedy of Love After World Domination. It has its wholesomeness.
Yeah.
Kind of lacks the real-ish isms, I guess, of Horimiya. But it, like I said, it's solid as a romance in and of itself, but it doesn't add anything different. And there's a lot of other like romance-based shows, whether they're rom-coms or just straight romances, that do this better. Like Tonikawa is so much this, but like executed in a more interesting fashion. Like Izumi and the guy from fucking, I don't remember what his name is, from Tonikawa, whatever his name is, very similar characters done in different art styles. Shikamori and the chick from that, kind of the same thing. There's this weird hinted at kind of like supernatural thing that Shikamori's kind of slowly getting away from. But also kind of like Shikamori's clan's totally stealing this guy's swag. Like this guy is not got flow at all. He is getting wrecked by the universe. He has almost bankrupted himself, I'm pretty sure, losing wallets. It's the Spider-Man backpack scenario.
Yeah, so like I would agree that I have not watched many like romance or slice of life animes. But I feel like if you are someone that enjoys that type of anime, it's a fun one.
Yeah.
I will say that, like, you know, the whole, at first I kind of thought it was like, oh, she's somehow stealing his luck and feels guilty about it.
Yeah. I still feel that. I'm not gonna lie. Like it.
So that's what I
feels like
thought. And then whenever she goes over to dinner to meet his she
mom.
meets his family and his mom, and just sees basically his mom has that terrible luck as well.
Yeah.
And then she's just like, I see the family resemblance.
Yeah, like I'm pretty sure her mom in that episode accidentally throws a knife at Shikamori.
Yeah, it's like as a fork.
Yeah.
Yeah. She throws it at Izumi.
Yeah.
It's going straight for him, and she catches it before it hits him in the face.
Yeah, like it
Because
feels
I think
like
your
that
dad is
too,
even
so.
just like, oh, great reflexes or something like that.
Yeah, the dad's a beast though. Like 10-10, that dad's in the more like he's on screen, the more he's like, I can understand why he is kept his mother and child alive this long, because he is just,
Yes.
I'm here when I need to be.
But I think it's like I think it's just like it's that balance of each other. But I don't think it's like gonna be like a thing. It's like, oh, her family's stealing the luck or something like that.
Yeah.
Because there's something more to Shikimori's family. Because whenever she's eating, she's like, I can't remember the last time I actually had like a home cooked meal. We don't
Yeah.
see any of her like parents around. It's just her brother. Like she's trying to put on like what was it, her grandmother's kimono, and her
Yeah.
brother like goes over there and helps her. Like we don't see anything about her parents, so that leads me to think that like her parents are not around. So she's not necessarily super lucky. This might be one of those things that like she's so great at all this stuff because she
had to mature young.
to get strong and mature and like take care of herself because she didn't have that family around. And I think that also might be one of the things that draws her to Izumi is like he's got shit luck.
Yeah.
Like at one point he's like, we're gonna have a great time. I divided my money between 3 wallets because I know I'm gonna lose at least 1 or 2 wallets.
Yeah.
And all this stuff. So like even though all of this like he's just the center of like bad luck, he still goes out of his way to help people he doesn't know. Like in the first episode you see it whenever he's just like, oh, can I help you like carry these bags to like an old woman, and she's like, it looks like you need more help than I do.
Yeah.
He's just like, oh, I'm fine. Or when like they go to the river and he sees like the little kid like
floating down the
floating
river.
away, and so he just runs off to go like help her and gets her saved and everything like that, and then gets hurt through bad luck, and then Shigemori has to come save him. But it's just that level of I think they both have qualities that they admire in each other.
Yeah.
And they both really care for each other, but are, I think, too shy to admit how much they like each other.
Yeah, it's like feels like because there's a lot of things I see in it that I'm just like, there have been other shows that have done like I hadn't thought about the Shikamori thing about her parents not being there that way, but that makes a lot of sense. But I think that might be part of like they never draw attention to it a lot. Like the line about dinner and stuff and them not being there, but her brother's there. It makes a lot of sense like looking back when someone has said it. But like I didn't pick up on that at all. But like Maureen in My Dress Up Darling, her mom is dead and her dad's working all the time. So there are multiple points where like it comes up as like, oh, she has no fucking idea how to actually cook. She's been getting like kombini food and it's super greasy and awful. And like Gojo and his grandpa are like, hey, just come over please and eat. We don't want you to die. Like you don't need a heart attack at fucking 16 or 17 or whatever the fuck your age is. High school, whatever. And like he goes over to her house to get something. I can't remember. I think it's a DVD set or something. And she's like, oh, I'm going to cook for him. It's going to be great. Before realizing, oh, I don't know how to cook. And like, she just tries like, it's just stuff like that I feel like maybe it's just that they make it more of a forefront. Because like Horimiya also does this, I feel like in a subtle way, but it's very blatant as well. Of like, Horimiya is super popular at school, but doesn't do anything after school because she has to look after her brother. Because like, her dad's a deadbeat who comes in and out of the show, and I'm not 100% sure if he's employed. And her mom is always working, so like you don't see them a lot. And she's like got to cook and pick him up and do all this, and doesn't let anyone know. And it's like I said, there's Shikamori's like white bread's the best example I can think of. By itself, it's not terrible. It's good. It's a good base. You can make a good sandwich with it. You can make cinnamon toast with it. But it's just missing those extra bits of spice that I like in other shows.
So I am curious because I wonder if they're working on more of like a slow burn sort of a thing.
Maybe.
Because maybe it's like the whole thing is just like, because it seems like it is weird that like she's great at like everything she does except for cooking. Yeah. Whenever she tried cooking, it was horrible.
Yeah, it's bad.
Like to the point where like, was it Izumi almost threw up?
Yeah, he almost
Like-
fucking passes out. He goes to the ground.
Shikamori tasted it. She fell to the ground.
Like, how do you not taste that when you're cooking it? Like, I guess if you don't know, but it's like, because their whole thing was like it was seasoned so heavily that it's like, oh, my gag reflex is automatically like,
Yeah.
Yeah, it.
So I wonder if like, because it seems like a lot of stuff that like she is really good at, it's stuff that I could see like, oh, maybe she's part of all these after school clubs because she doesn't have anything waiting for her at home, so that's why she is
Yeah.
doing all this stuff.
That makes sense.
And so like, I could see them doing kind of like a slow burn on that coming up.
Yeah, I mean,
and
because
being
it's
a thing, and that
halfway
would-
through, so if the second half really pops, then they might.
Yeah, and I could also see that's might be a thing that pulled that drew her to Izumi, because he is the type of person that would genuinely care and like look out for other people. So if something did happen, I could see everyone else being like, "Oh, we're so sorry. We hope you're doing well." But then like you see Izumi, who is already struggling with stuff, but still going out of his way to not just say like, "Oh, we're so sorry," but actually doing stuff to help her.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely getting the vibes that something's happened. She doesn't have any other family. She has her brother, and her brother is essentially doing everything he can to kind of like provide for her.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's fun. I'm enjoying it for what it is. You know, I think for a lot of these like wholesome type animes, I treat them more of like a palate cleanser
Yeah.
for other stuff.
I
Where
think
it's just like,
this one serves as a good palate cleanser for that because it,
yeah,
you know, it's kind of there. It's a pickle, you know. It just wipes everything away. But yeah, I mean, it's for that. It makes it a good palate cleanser. I think that's it's a good way to use it.
I agree.
Here at the Weeb Trash Podcast, we've partnered with Debbie to tell you about their energy powders that help with focus while not bringing on the jitters or crash. With chosen amino acids and vitamins, Debbie brings transparency to their products with everything listed on the labels. Currently, Debbie offers 4 different flavors with Dragonade, Dub Sludge, Galaxy Grenade, and Beach and Peach. Get ready to be better with Debbie and snag a 10% off with the code WeebTrashPod at checkout. Once again, that is WeebTrashPod for 10% off at checkout. Okay. So the only other thing I watched this week that I think both of you have finished, if not watched a portion of, is Wise Man's Grandchild. Dean, how far are you in Wise Man's Grandchild?
I do not remember.
Great. Hit me with
I
some
think-
like vague shit. Like, what was the last thing you remember?
It's been like 3 weeks. He's in the academy.
Okay.
Uh,
Great, you're covering like 60% of the episode so far.
he's like, why the fuck is everybody so weak? And they're so impressed about their weakness. I think it was the first day of the academy, and then I think that's when I stopped.
Okay. Okay, so you met the like dickhead noble kid that's like, why are you in my way?
Yeah,
and he
yeah,
pushes him to the ground like, get fucked.
yeah.
Love that
Fucking
guy.
peasant.
Okay,
It's
so
like
that
It's
will
like the prince shows up or something like that.
yeah, the crown prince is like, yo, this guy's cool as hell, fuck that kid. Love that guy. Okay, so yeah, that gives me an idea of where to not speak further on. Merlin being a good grandpa is great. I love that he gets excited about like fucking, oh god, I can't remember.
He's a good grandpa to an extent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He did not teach him a lot of like just basic being a human being stuff.
Yeah. But like when Shin's like, "Oh, I appreciate you so much," he's like, "Oh, that's super sweet. Thank you. I'm the best grandpa ever. Get fucked everyone else. I'm the best. I'm Merlin. I'm out." Yeah, he's
I like
great.
even though he's Merlin, he's like the greatest mage this world has ever known. He's just like, yeah, don't worry. My concept of teleportation magic, even hard for Merlin to understand. And he's just like, It just doesn't make sense.
How do I don't math? How does it work?
Yeah, I think it's like in the first bit
Yeah,
when they're
it's
just
very
like,
quick.
oh yeah, like this is stuff you'll like need when you go shopping. He's like, I've never gone shopping, and they're just
Yeah.
like, you never took him shopping, and Merlin's like, never came up.
I don't know how money works.
Yeah,
I've been
love
doing
that-
magic and sword shit, man. We don't have time for that.
Yeah, we got important things. I like that the buying thing never comes up again though.
Yeah,
Like it's just they mention it and it's like, oh yeah, and then just him kind of just vibing his way through life and no one caring. It's pretty good. Sicilian, the like chick he likes, I think is her name is Sicilian, a
Something like
blue-haired
that.
lady, has a scene. You may not have gotten to it yet because I don't remember where it is. I want to say it's pretty early on, but I think Shin's like, oh hey, I'll enchant your uniform or
stuff.
something.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah,
And she starts crying because she's like, I feel bad for taking advantage of you.
Yeah.
And that scene would actually kind of hit if the camera didn't pan down to her tits. Like it's just like tears following
Yeah.
on her boobs, and you're like,
Yeah.
this lady's having an emotional moment. Camera, what are you doing? Stop
yeah,
this.
which is
Yep.
weird because it's like it's finally like, you know, we've got this like isekai into a fantasy world with magic sort of like thing. You've got, you know, all of these characters that would probably fawn over, you know, the main character,
Yeah.
but like he has eyes for one person and she
Mhm.
likes him, so
Yeah.
it's like
Nice.
we're not getting harem-y. It's just gonna be like they actually like each other, and like that's what we're going with on this. It's like, all right, cool, but then you get to like important moments like that where it's just like, oh, like she's afraid, like she doesn't want to come across that like she's only doing this or only caring about him to get free stuff.
Mhm.
Like she actually likes him and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah,
it's just like, yeah, that's cool and everything, but
But titties.
and you're
Yeah.
just like, we could just like let them have like some character.
Yeah, we could
growth,
just
like-
not have that, but they're like, nah. How do you know she's not gonna grow if the tears don't fall on her titties?
Yeah,
That's how
it's just
growth
like,
works,
yeah, she's
right?
having an emotional moment, but if we ain't showing the giant Norks, how does everybody know she got them?
Yeah, like you gotta see them, or else the camera's like, are they there? I don't. As a viewer, did they disappear? Object's permanence does not make sense to me. We are all dogs. Why are we watching this?
I imagine they were just
Dogs.
like, hey, we watched like what you have for the next episode. It's great, but as you see on our metrics right here, we actually need to have a minimum of 25% fan service in this episode, and we're only at 17 right now. So
Bump
you're
it
gonna
up.
have to find some way, you know, to get us that extra 8% of fan service. Whatever you need to do, doesn't matter. And so they were just like, okay, well, don't have a lot of women in this episode. You know, emotional confession sort of a thing. Just pan to the tits.
Bam,
Hand in
done.
hands.
They do like. I guess I'll save it for when I finish, because like Dan, if you haven't finished at that point, then I'll just go into some spoilers. But yeah, so far it's really good. I've enjoyed it. It has some vaguely questionable moments, but it's not near as bad as like a lot of the other shit. Like right now, I've got Taylor to watch Mushoku Tensei, and there's a bunch of that stuff that I remembered, but watching it with someone else, you're like, oh, this is way worse than crying on some titties. Like,
Oh yeah.
this is very
Yes.
uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew it was there, but like having someone else is like, oh, yeah, this is okay. But we're almost done with that. I think we're on episode 19, so we'll have that finished in like 2 weeks. But yeah, Wise Man's Grandchild, mostly wholesome. Shin's not an awful protagonist. He's actually pretty good. Big magics.
He just doesn't understand how the world works.
Yeah, with big magics, you don't need to.
Well, the big magics, I think, is what's wrong with it. Is like, it's like, oh, all right, we're gonna fight some like gonna fight demons, which is essentially like enhanced animals, or
Yeah.
essentially what they're fighting. And it's just like, all right, like, you know, we got the Night Squad and the Mage Squad. Like, you got to be super serious. These are super dangerous. And he's just like, oh, I mean, yeah, I guess so. I mean, I've killed one before. It's like, oh, really? Like, yeah, like the first time I killed one, it was a bear. I was like 8, and they were like,
What?
I'm sorry, you were 8? He's like, yeah, I was hanging out. It sounds like that one kid that always lied in school. He's like, I killed a demon with my grandfather. We were out in the woods.
My dad works at
and,
Nintendo.
I just have like this like really strong innate magic and stuff like that, so I was able to like kind of just cut it set off in one swing. It's not a big deal. Grandpa said I couldn't do it because it could endanger everybody in the world and all that stuff, but it's totally happened.
I do like that the prince keeps calling him out to be like, do you really not understand how much of a problem you are?
Yeah. Because he's just like, oh, yeah, it's like whenever he enchanted the clothes, he's just like, oh, hey, I did this. Do you want to check it out, Grandma?
And they freak out.
And she's just like,
you cannot tell anyone.
what the fuck?
You broke the economy, son. How did you do this?
It's not even the economy. It's just like, this outfit, this could start wars. Just for this outfit. Like, people would like fight over the like having this.
So what you're saying is Shin is crude oil. The US is gonna be like,
self-aware.
Hey.
Yeah.
And like the thing, that's the whole thing, is like the king is just like, he's like, I'm gonna go fight, and he's just like, no, you can't.
No.
And you're like, well, why not? And it's just like, we told your grandpa no, first of all. Second of all, we kind of don't want people to know that you exist, because like that's already in itself like a problem. Like I feel like he's the equivalent of like it being like magic and sorcery, medieval times and all that stuff. And then once I'd roll it up and being like, oh, cool, you guys got some magic, and those bows are cute. We have a nuke. So, like, do we need to do anything? You just want to like give up now?
You know, we have to use it, you know, I guess we will. It's like there's this alternative history book where the only thing that happens is I think it's South Africans learn how to time travel, and they just time travel back to the Confederacy and give them like an AK-47 and leave. That's what this basically is he's just an AK-47 in this world. He's like, I'll kill everyone. I don't care. Everyone will. You know, he obviously doesn't. He's like a nice guy, but he's got that power. You know, he's like, I am technologically superior, magically speaking, to every single person who's ever lived on this planet, ever combined.
So,
except for the demons.
The other day. This is completely unrelated to everything we've been talking about.
Right.
You remember when we were watching The World's Finest Assassin?
Yeah.
And basically, Goddess is just like, you're the best at this, so we're sending you to this world so you can use your talents to kill the hero.
Yeah.
And going through all that one. I'd love an isekai where it's basically like, oh, we did the ritual to summon, you know, this a great warrior or something like that. But it's just like, our kingdom's in turmoil. We did this ritual to summon the world's, you know, a great scholar from another world, and then you get like this tenured professor coming to this fantasy world where nothing is the same, and like, can you help us? And he's like, I have 3 doctorates in history. It means shit. It's fuck all now. I don't know anything about y'all's history.
That's
You never had magic.
magic
What year
changes
is it
everything,
here?
bro.
What year is it here? Yeah, okay, yeah. In 1600s, you know what they were like? You know what was happening in my world? People were dying of dysentery. That's what we didn't have. Fucking plumbing going on or anything like that. Just shit in the streets. How's that gonna help you?
I mean, you do kind of get a little bit of that in the Otome dating game, right? Like, fucking Leon is an expert, but he's fucking hates everyone. That it's not
He's
full
an
degree.
expert in like the game, and like he knows who
Yeah,
the
he
characters
at least
are.
gets to use it.
I just love that this guy gets picked out because he's like the best scholar of another world, but his stuff is in history.
Yeah.
For something that just means nothing in a new world.
Yeah, you can't use it. It's kind of the reverse of that. I think it's still airing this season. Is Your Boy Coming, where like some ancient Chinese strategist gets teleported to like modern day Tokyo, outside of like this nightclub, and he's like, "Yo, singer, I'm gonna help you become the best singer ever," and he does. And from what I've heard, people are like, "Yeah, it's good," and the OP's a pretty good banger. So, but yeah, like. It does make me wonder when Isekai is going to get to the point where we're going to get some weird shit. Like, we've got some weird shit, but, like, let's get weird. Let's go. Let's do some dumb things. Like, just stop overpowering your protagonist and let's do something stupid. Let's, plumbers, let's go. It's Super Mario World this.
When I was watching Wiseman's Grandchild, the reason I stopped watching is because I had too much weeklies going on, or not too much weeklies. I had too much watching because I was watching Assassin and I was watching Demon King Academy, and then all the other stuff. So I was gonna go back and watch it. But when I was watching it, it was reminding me of it was that supposed kid from the last Dungeon Boonies moved to a starter town.
Oh, the one with Asta in it, the voice actor for Asta.
No, that's Tsukamichi.
Oh, okay.
That one's an isekai. This one's not an isekai. It's just a fantasy world, but it's like an OP fantasy world. So literally, like the title says, like the kid, he's the weakest in his town, and he's like, I just want to go off and like join the army. I want to help out, and so they live like in fuck off, like far away, and so he moves to like the capital, which it's like if it was a video game, it's like a starter town. But it turns out the place he's from is like Kunland, which is like a legendary town, like right at the end of the boss level, like near the last dungeon of the game. So he's like super OP, but he doesn't know that he is. And it's really funny. Like they're like, oh yeah, it's like, how long did it take you to get here? And he's like, oh, it took me like 2 days. And she's like, oh wow, that you must have had a really good your transportation, like the train, you must have been a really good time. He's like, oh no, I ran. He's like, you ran all this. She's like, what? He's like, yeah, if my brother did it, he would have got here in like a day. So he's like, I'm so sorry. It's like he ran. It's like he ran the whole way there. He's like, you didn't fight any like monsters? And he's like, no, not really. And then turns out the only thing he thinks are like monsters are like demon lords instead of like these gigantic insects that terrorize the village. He's like, yeah, like he takes them out with like one punch.
Add the name of that into
yeah, it's
I'll
probably pretty good.
Throw that on and give it a watch.
All right. But it reminded me of that with like Wiseman's Grandchild. He's like super OP, but he's like doesn't realize like how strong he actually is.
At least in Wiseman's Grandchild, he begins to kind of see once. I think it was skewed for him because he didn't think he was all that strong.
Yeah.
But he was raised by the greatest like magician that ever lived in this world, and this is like the king's like the master of the king's guard taught him swordsmanship at a young age.
Yeah.
Like enchantments and stuff like that was essentially like what's essentially his grandmother and stuff like that. And then like the captain of the mages and the captain of the knights and stuff kind of acted as like his like older siblings, like cousin sort of a thing.
Yeah.
In like his family environment. So it's like, yeah, when you're compared to all these people who have like trained their whole life to be masters in their craft, and like you've gotten pretty good, but like you don't really know exactly how good you are until you start getting around people that are your own age and you're seeing the skill level they're at. And you're just like, oh, you guys can't do this? Whoops. Yeah. All right. I added one more thing to the fights section.
Okay.
And that is influenced others. So it's a fight that, you know, when we're looking at like today's standards and stuff like that, you know, it probably won't hit the buckets for like, you know, beautiful animation or like, you know, like an artistic like art style fight, but it was integral into like and like the other shows that it then influenced.
Oh, yeah. That's an important one. I mean, you do see like a fair few DBZ fights probably influenced quite a few things at some point.
Yeah, that's
Probably.
yeah, for me, I think I really want to say, like, for the influenced others, I'm a little bit torn
Mm.
between the Goku Frieza fight, because that was a huge
Mhm.
fight,
Yeah.
and I really feel like you can feel the ripples of that fight, like, across anime.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I want to go with that one or Yu Yu Hakusho.
Against a brother.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, because I also feel
that one would probably be on my list as well. I understand. That's so good. It's a tournament
Because-
arc.
yeah, but that's the thing, is like when I look back at Yu Yu Hakusho, is it's during the demon tournament arc and stuff like that, and it has some importance to the story, but the whole thing is it's a tournament arc,
Mhm.
so it's kind of like meh. Importance between two characters, you know, it's Yusuke and then you know the baddie and whatnot, and so it's like I can kind of see that, but it's not the strongest. Animation wise, it doesn't hold up to some of the newer stuff. Artistically, you know, they were working with budgets back then, but like with what it was able to do and the influence it had on others, I feel like that is where that lands for me, at least. Because I do feel like it's important to, when we're looking at like taking some of these fights into account, that like we would not have some of them if it weren't for the predecessors.
Yeah. There's a lot of a lot of like, I'm sure there's a lot of things fight wise that probably influence things that we're like just not privy to, but yeah, and there's like, this particularly lends itself well, of course, to like shonen typically, because you know,
Yeah.
shonen fight anime is the whole kind of thing. But I mean, there's a lot of other fights that kind of like, I had a hard time not putting a Gundam fight on here, but Gundam fights also make things like, it's rare that it's like a good fight. Like one of the price standout ones is Amuro versus Char and Char's counterattack. But that is like broken up and plays into so many other things that it feels like that's not really, like, it almost feels like a boss fight that has like 4 or 5 stages. It just continually changes. But yeah, I mean, there are a ton of shonen fights that's like, yeah, you can kind of feel the Frieza Goku, the Frieza Goku, the Goku Cell, the Gohan Cell type vibes in. But yeah, I mean, you're kind of looking at like the importance between two characters, or I guess a set of characters, I suppose. Like the importance of the story, the animation quality, how artistic it is, which, you know, I think is...
So for me, like, for something that's like beautifully animated,
yeah,
like whenever I think of just like the animation is so amazing on this, I'm thinking like a Mob Psycho 100 has some beautifully animated stuff. But I think one of the things that really jumps out at me is the Midoriya versus Todoroki and the tournament. When they're big, having that big, they're throwing everything out at each other. They're having to stop the fight. Like the cement comes up, and it is just like, animation wise, it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
And then artistic, for me, that's more of like your Demon Slayer type stuff.
Yeah.
Like the artistry around that, I feel is beautiful. Like, I wouldn't necessarily say it's the same thing as like animation, because while it is good, I don't feel like it's like super over the top animated, but the artistic style of it, I think, is phenomenal.
Yeah, like that is for me the animation thing. Like 86 is a great example of this. It's super crisp and super clean and really well done CGI, but it kind of lacks the extra flourish of something that like Demon Slayer has. So it's very good looking. It's just kind of lacks personality for me. But I can 100% agree with anyone. Those like it's some of the best looking, just crisp animation out there.
Yeah.
So as far as we kind of talked about this off screen a little bit, but we all kind of agree that the Yuji Todo Hanami fight from Jujutsu Kaisen's like one of the GOATs, one of the best. It's I mean that whole Hanami fight, even starting from like when she shows up, is like banger after banger after banger. Like it's super good. And it kind of does all that. Like I don't know that it's influenced anything because it's how new it is, but like you get some really interesting like artistry, I suppose is a good way to put it. The animation on it is very clean. It's pretty important to the story. Like you get to see Todo and Yuji bond, but more importantly, you get to see Yuji grow into a Jujutsu sorcerer on his own without having to rely on Sukuna as much. And then, like, yeah, you have the bro moments between Yuji and Todo, and those are like some of the best moments of that show.
Yeah, so I think that's like personally for me, I think that little three-way fight that we have in that one checks off most of the boxes for me.
Yeah,
it makes it one of my favorite like overall fights.
See, now it's like I really like the Hanami fight. And I was conflicted on like from Jujutsu Kaisen because like I like there's a bunch of them to pick from there. Like you know, because you have like Megami's fight was really good, but like you get to see him. Yeah, oh god, and the last fight of the season.
Yeah,
which Kugasaki and Itadori versus the
the Blood Brothers or something.
The death painting the twins.
Yeah,
like I think it's like I probably think the Hanami, Todo, and Itadori fight I think is better. But this one made me feel more because they're on their own. It makes me like, oh, they're finally like sorcerers that can stand on their own.
Yeah.
Like you see how much Itadori has progressed from the beginning of the show to this fight. I
mean, I completely agree with you on that one because I feel like when we're just looking at like the fight aesthetics of it, I don't necessarily feel like it is as strong as that other one. But when you look at like the characters themselves and what they've gone through and what they've done, is like, you know, you really see Itadori being able to like really kind of hold his own and do his own thing now. Yeah. And you know, while he wasn't a burden before, but he was really limited. Like he had to use like a weapon and stuff to be able to attack. And basically what he had going for him was just the fact that he was insanely like gifted like physically.
Yeah.
But like you really see that change. He's got a bit more confidence. Whenever he first came up across whenever he died came across the Sukuna's finger in the prison.
Yeah.
He sent them off because he cared about his friends and everything. But he was not confident in being able to hold back that demon essentially. And he was really counting on Sukuna coming out and taking care of it for him.
Yeah.
And I think with the final fight, you see that he is confident in his own and does not need Sukuna's help. So I think you see that from him. Was it Fukushaki? What's his name?
Oh, Megumin. I can't remember.
Yeah.
It's not Fujiwara because that's a Kaguya-sama character, but yeah, it's Megumin with an F something. I can't remember his last name. But yeah, him trying to do his like partial domain or whatever.
So yeah, you see him kind of doing that,
Yeah.
and really, Fushiguro.
Yeah,
was,
Fushiguro. There we go.
You see the fact that even through the course of like, because it's like the previous episode, this is like a little mini arc for doing that.
Yeah.
He actually is okay and will rely on his teammates, because up to that point he's really kind of been like lone wolf sit sort of a dude. Like, I really don't need anybody. I can do it myself.
Mm-hmm.
And then seeing that he is accepting his team and everything like that, and then you've got like a Fugisaki, who I think through part of it, you're kind of like, how serious is she? Like, how committed is she to this? Because she does kind of seem like, at times it's like she doesn't seem like she really cares about them. Like, she kind of has her own thing she wants to do, but you really see her work with, you know, Itadori and Megumi together, as a team. And you see just like how fucking hard she's willing to go when she is just like, well, we're linked now, and I know I can withstand pain, can you? And she just starts nailing shit into her arm.
Yeah,
it's just like,
Nobaru's
okay,
so fucking
Kuyosaki
cool.
can fucking go hard, apparently.
Yeah. I
So-
just like how they both went all out, like to their limits
Yes.
for it.
I do like that, and I feel like importance like within the series that is super high, but for just a fight scene, for me, I think it's him and Toto fighting.
Yeah,
Fighting
like
Honey.
it's huge. Like, I think that normally that's kind of where you'd want to end a season, almost like maybe have an episode after. But I don't think having that arc after and having that be the final fight was a bad idea, because that fight still fucking slaps. Like, everyone's pushing themselves, kind of with the exception of Itadori. Like, he is, but he's not like the Hanami fight. Like, he fucking goes off. But like, you see Megumin kind of just go crazy for a second and try to open his domain, and it works. And then you see Nobara do the coolest shit she's ever done in that show, and just nail in the arm. And it's so fun. Oh gosh, she's so, like, she was already one of my favorite characters, just because like she's kind of like not putting up with anyone's bullshit, regardless who they are. But then she's like, oh, okay, you won't poison me? Okay, we bet. Just start nail.
It's just like the foresight and strategy and tactics that she had, and then like the willpower and courage to like follow through with it.
Yeah,
is just.
I like in the like forest tournament arc thing with the other school, she like is about to just cream that fucking like little blonde haired witch person with the like squeaky hammer. And it's just like, Nobara, I don't know if that's gonna work, but you go off, you do that, like, just try it. I love you, Nobara, you're the best.
Yeah, it was pretty
so
great.
fucking cool. Yeah, she's that. There are so many fights in Jujutsu Kaisen that are good. Like, just choreography wise, it's a pretty consistent banger. There's not a fight in there that's kind of lame. Because like that whole arc has so many good individual fights. Like, the robot versus Panda is super awesome. You have Glasses Girl, Mai, I think might be her name, fighting her like sister who has the gun, and like they have a really good fight. And you have Mai fight the sword lady and take her sword. Like, just everyone has like a good moment in that. It's like, I don't think there's a fight for me personally that modern day anything beats most of those. Like, they're all like My Hero kind of being kind of the next closest thing with like a tournament and stuff. Not even close. Like, Jujutsu Kaisen is just clowning on all those fights. I was trying to think of some other ones as far as like Jujutsu Kaisen is kind of an easy, like, not an easy one, but it's a good show to pick from because there's so many that, like, very feasibly everyone would be like, yeah, that makes sense, like to some degree.
I had one that was more of choreography. Just it was aesthetically pleasing to watch.
Yeah.
And it was from Vivi Fluoride's Eye Song. Did you watch that one? I remember telling you about it. From Vivi.
I did not, but I like you highly recommended it, and I've heard a bunch of really good shit about it.
It's only like I think it came out at the wrong time and it flew under the radar. And so there was too much going on, so it didn't get noticed a lot. But there's one scene in there, and it was Diva versus Yugo, and I think it's not the last fight. I think it's like episode might be like episode 9 maybe. Yeah, episode 9. I'll probably link it into the Discord. But for Vivi's Fluorite Song, it was a really good show. The music in it was really good. I can't remember what I described it to you as. It was like
I think you said the Terminator is an idol, basically.
Pretty much, because
like
it does with like time traveling and robots and AI. It's mostly AI based, but it's really good. And it was just like hand-to-hand combat. Like, I don't know, that fight, if you've seen it, and that one stands out. The whole show is pretty good, but yeah, that fight stand out most in like choreography and how fluid it was. Everything was hand drawn. Like, so like it has a different kind of feel to it.
Yeah.
But that I think that show came out last year.
Yeah, I remember seeing, like, when it was coming out, people were like, "Yo, this is a banger," and I was like, "Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I'm not gonna watch it." Not because of that. It's just like doing other stuff. And then you were like, "Yo, watch this." It's like, okay,
yeah, it's pretty good.
I don't know.
Yeah, link the name of that one in chat.
Yeah.
As well, because I haven't heard of that one.
It looks good. Like the little bits I've seen, it's like, oh yeah, no, this is very well done. But yeah, that's kind of, I guess, the unsuspecting one as far as the fights go.
Right.
As far as I was trying to think of, like, I didn't put any Naruto fights, and I kind of feel a little bad about that because that's...
You didn't even put Rock Lee.
No, I mean, to be fair, when we initially talked about doing favorite fights, that was like before I got there, I thought. But I honestly, any Rock Lee fight, I feel like at this point is gonna be like, Gaara Rock Lee is good. Rock Lee versus Bone Boy with the drunken fist. He's like, yeah, he's out here, he's doing it. Like, Rock Lee's just got to be a fun character to, like, choreograph in a fight, because it's no jutsus. It's just like, I'm gonna do some shit with my feet and my hands, and I hope it works out.
It's not.
You realize that Rock Lee is essentially, they just made Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The hairstyle, the jumpsuit,
Yeah.
like the kicks and everything like that. That's
like, it's
what it
nice
is.
that he's not a joke character, though. That, like, he actually is one of the most competent people in that whole fucking village. And, like, a guy's kind of the same way, right? Because he doesn't really ever use jutsu. Like, he just opens the gates.
Yeah. So
that's the thing,
like,
because that's the thing. Rock Lee cannot use ninjutsu. Like,
Yeah.
he does not have the ability to.
He's stuck with the taijutsu, but he rocks it.
He Rock Lee'd it.
He literally did. Just like, yeah, those I feel like there has got to be a Dragon Ball Z fight that I'm just not thinking about that has some kind of tie-in there. Like, there's some kind of inspiration, I'm sure, for, like, the Gaara fight. I don't know what it is, because most of the time it's like, oh, we'll shoot this big ball of energy at each other.
it'd probably be from Dragon Ball itself.
Yeah,
the
'cause
actual
that's
Dragon
like-
Ball, because that was mostly based on martial arts instead
Yeah.
of.
Did the first
Oh,
part
Jesus.
of Dragon Ball Z start with the like, world tournament when Goku, like, is old, or not, like, a kid?
Dragon Ball Z starts off
Raditz.
with Raditz showing
Raditz,
up
okay.
and him going to the Kami house and being like, Goku, I haven't seen you in forever. He's like, did you steal a kid? He's like, oh, this is my son. And they're like,
What?
the fuck?
You have a son?
This dude that doesn't know anything has a son?
Who took advantage of this man?
Pretty much.
So I would say like maybe I think the closest thing I can think of for like that Rock Lee Gaara fight,
Yeah.
because it's like unlocking a part of you that could potentially also kill you,
Yeah.
would be when Goku has learned Kaioken.
Yeah.
Because
That makes
whenever he
sense.
learns that King Kai is like, yeah, only go up to ×2, because if you go higher than that, you might kill yourself. And he's just like,
×4.
gotcha. Say less.
Let's go.
No problem. And then you get to do a fight with Vegeta, and he's like, ×10, motherfucker.
Yeah, bet. Let's go. I'm gonna kill myself.
Which is just like pushing his body's like past his limits and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So I feel like that's the DBZ equivalent
That
of,
would make sense.
of,
Yeah.
I guess that Gaara fight.
Yeah. But yeah, those fights are solid. I feel like to a very minor degree, and probably not directly, those fights, the Rock Lee fights in particular, probably have a little bit to do with some of the Jujutsu Kaisen thing, but I think more of the Jujutsu Kaisen stuff is like a trend. Because like God of High School has a very similar, like very
So
purist martial arts choreography style.
I feel like
Um,
with Naruto and a bunch of the other shonens and stuff like that,
Yeah.
we could almost just have a separate section that's just like favorite Naruto fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's a shit.
Because like you could have
Yeah.
that, you could have like, this is my favorite DBZ fight. You know, this is my favorite One Piece fight.
Yeah.
Like you could take all of these shonens, which are pretty just centered around fights,
Mhm.
and have hundreds of episodes,
You have a
and
lot.
just say like, this is my favorite fight from this one. And I think that would probably be better than trying to just be like,
Go through those, yeah.
oh boy.
Okay, so some
And-
weird ones I'll go for then that are not out of those. Because I did have one Black Clover fight, but it's not the fight I don't think people would think of.
Which one is it?
Oddly enough, it's the fight, it's not terribly long, but the fight when Fuegoleon wakes up and gets the salamander spirit. Because you're like, fuck yeah, Fuegoleon's back. And then he like is the only individual person who can actually fight this elf guy.
Yeah.
But like the whole lead up to it is super good because you have Leo like trying his best to like hold his own and getting like clobbered over and over and over. And you get to see like the whole squad like, no, we gotta protect Leo. Like we gotta, you know, he's kind of doing the
I
inspirational
have to
thing.
catch up on this.
Yeah. It is like, it's not long and it doesn't really affect the plot too much, but it is super cool. And like, you actually get to see why the Crimson Lion Kings are kind of revered. Because like outside of like Fuegoleon, everyone's like, oh yeah, they're cool. They're like the second or third highest ranked ones, but you never really see why until that moment. You're like, okay, I get why these are some cool ass motherfuckers. They don't care. They'll fight anyone.
So
God, that's
just
such a
to,
good
so for overall fight,
Yeah.
Denise, was the Vivify? Was that your favorite overall fight?
My favorite no. That was just for choreography. I think one of my
Okay, so that would
favorite
be more. Would you say more like artistic?
more artistic.
you?
Yeah, I got
Okay.
it. It was so beautiful. I think it's kind of like a small one too. And I know Cody hasn't seen it, but it's from Hunter x Hunter. And it's Hisoka versus Castro in the tower, in the Heavens Arena. That's the one where you really get to see like
Yeah.
his-
I forgot about the arena.
yeah, you know, the whole tournament arc of the show, other than the Hunter exam, the ending of it. But that's when he fights that white-haired dude in the cape, and he can like he's got like double powers and stuff like that. Anyway, you get to see Hisoka basically outsmart his opponent. And I think intellectually I like that fight the most. And I always keep going back to it. Like there's other ones in Hunter x Hunter, like Netero versus Meruem in the Khmer Ant arc, which kind of is like near the end of the show. And that one's really good. That one's just insane. Like they throw like there's just like, oh, here's one of the strongest people on the planet, and he's just unleashing hell on this fucking bad guy. But that one's really good. But I think Hisoka versus Castro was one of my favorites. I always like the fights where they try to plan like a step ahead, or they have like contingency plans and stuff like that. And it's like, oh, you're fighting smarter instead of, you fight smarter, not harder. Like that shit's always cool. Plus, I always like, as creepy as Hisoka is, I really like him as a character. Other than the weird pedophilia, murder children thing.
It's a big thing.
So I'm surprised because I
Yeah.
would have thought maybe you'd go with like because whenever I'm like thinking of like one of like a top tier fight from Hunter x Hunter,
Mhm.
keep in mind I've only seen it through Greed Island.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Would be is it Kurapika when he goes up against the
Oh
member
yeah,
of the fighters.
I do like that one. I do like that one when he's
Because
fighting.
He fucking
like-
planned ahead.
He planned ahead, but there's not a. It's he just fucking decimates them though. It's not really much of a fight.
Yeah, but like it's fun seeing they're just like, how are you so
Yeah.
good? And it's just like, oh, things can get stronger the more restrictions you put on it.
Yeah,
And
it's
so
like,
it's
I'm
just
only
like-
using it for one thing.
Yeah, and if I use it for anything else ever, if
I
I
die.
ever like if I can only use this when fighting somebody with the spiders, and if I do it other than that, it kills me.
So it's like, oh, so it's as strong as it possibly can be.
It's like, okay, that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah.
And since nobody else is putting some sort of restriction like that on themselves and the spiders,
Yeah,
like nobody can overpower that. So I think that is just like a
it's a really good fight, but it's more of Kurapika shows up and just fucking manhandles him.
yeah. I would say that one would probably fit more of like the importance on the story.
Yeah, because it's more of like his revenge and
Yeah.
yeah.
And like I think because like it's just like, oh, how could you be so strong? And it's just like you can't do what I'm doing because it's just like
It's
I'm doing
impossible.
all of this for
Yeah.
revenge.
Yeah.
You're doing this for other reasons, and so there's just no way that you could get where I'm on this.
When you get into the Chimera Ant arc, it's a lot of really crazy fights.
All right, so Hunter for Dean for overall fight. Cody,
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it's really hard not to pick the Yuji Toto fight or the Nobara Yuji Blood guy fight.
Mhm.
I
do it if you want. I mean, it's your personal like what you feels the best overall.
I mean, it's up there. Like, I hate to say, 'cause it's like it's so new, but there's just so much that goes on to that.
Mhm.
I think overall that's my kind of go-to, and like there are other ones that I can think of that I think win out in like one category or one kind of aspect, but aren't collectively as good as those fights. Like those two fights are like your combination of Toto and Eugene, kind of Eugene and himself kind of growing, and then like Yuji and Nobara kind of for the first time really working as a team. Those fights is like everything else is just bangers, but like those two instances. I will say, just because I know that Demon Slayer kind of deserves some recognition here. I think
I've got that on another subsection.
yeah, like as far as artistic fights, it's hard to go outside of that because it is, but that's its whole that's the whole reason the show is good. It's mostly, but it's the Tanjiro Rui fight, the spider demon. So I don't think
Are you
there's
talking about overall fights for this?
so for just artistic, as far as overall, it's a hands
Okay.
down got to be Yuji, Toto, and Hanami. Or
Okay, so
fuck
we
that,
have
the whole Hanami fight is just yeah.
So Cody and I for Hanami from
Mhm.
JJK, and then Hunter
Hanami.
with Dean
Mhm.
with the pedophile.
Well, there's another one, but it's from Naruto and Shippuden, and neither one of y'all have gotten that far,
Oh, okay.
so I can't. And if I say
It's a
what it is,
spoiler?
it's a spoiler. Yeah.
I will make honorable
Alright.
mention of the Naruto Sasuke fight at the end of
Yeah.
Naruto, because that
Once
There's
again,
two more-
we
there's,
have
like-
an entire subsection of
Yeah.
favorite
Oh, yeah.
Naruto
Well,
fights.
so-
There's just gonna be too many.
I would say would
Yeah.
actually give the Yuji Toto fight a run for its money. Like as old as it is, they like jumped 4 or 5 years ahead with the budget they threw into
At
that
the time
fight
it was.
So, like,
versus
that's
the
one
rest of that.
You could even probably throw on to its influence of others, because
Yeah,
I'm
possibly,
sure as hell
There's something,
it
yeah.
probably has influenced what
Like-
we are currently seeing today.
Threw
there's-
so much money at that fight. It's
They have-
so
they have-
beautiful.
They have that one. They fight again in Shippuden, and that one also makes a lot of lists.
Yeah, I'd imagine.
And then in Boruto, whatever you
Burrito.
fucking Burrito, fuck
Chipotle.
that show. They team up and they fight another bad guy, and that one is also at the top of a
Wait,
lot of
is
lists.
the bad guy parental responsibility?
I mean, it's aliens.
Yeah, so yes, it's an alien concept.
Sorry, I
to
couldn't
them.
come to your baseball game, buddy. I had to
Fight
fight aliens with the Hokage.
Yeah.
Ooh, it's crazy shit, huh? Anyway, I'm
My
gonna be
bad.
gone for like next
Gotta
6 months,
go.
man.
We gotta bounce. Gotta protect the village.
All right, so that covers our overall.
Yeah.
fights.
So overall,
Yeah.
hands down, yeah.
All right, so we're gonna try and keep this.
Yeah, we'll blaze
organized.
through the rest of these.
So let's look at so a fight that had great importance between, like, 2 or more characters, like the characters involved or with it.
Yeah.
Like what's
Oh, I got it
everybody
instantly.
okay?
Cell versus Gohan.
Okay.
That's just like Gohan's pivotal moment.
True.
I don't even have to look it up or even think about it. I just off the top of my head, if it's for like story and character importance itself, that's pivotal on almost the entire cast of Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
Gohan just doesn't want to fight, yet he contains this significant amount of power that can help, I can essentially like save the world, but he doesn't want to use it. And then Cell just
Pushes him to that point.
pushes him to that limit, even
Yeah.
though he keeps warning him. He's like, "Don't push me to this limit." He's like, "I will kill you."
I got big boy power.
He's like, I've always had this inside, and Cell's like, "Oh, you have." He's like, "Now I want to see it more." So he
Kind of
just,
a
like,
dick move on Goku's part, though.
Yeah.
Where he's just like,
no,
I want you to do it. It's like, I don't want to do it, Dad. It's
Yeah,
like
he's like, "No,
because
you
like
gotta
I
do
think
it."
at one point Goku's was like, yeah, I could probably do this.
Yeah,
But he's like, Gohan, it's your turn. And when Gohan, he's just like, Gohan's not getting worked up enough. He's just like, you know what? I'm gonna get killed.
yeah.
That'll do it. That'll do it. I'm explode. Well, and then because then Gohan, the pivotal change is whenever he destroys Android 16, which was an android created for war, for murder, and he found peace
You found burbs.
in himself.
Bird.
With birds, and so that
Found
just,
peace, except for anything involving Son Goku.
yeah. And so he snaps and transforms and to Super Saiyan 2, and it's probably like one of the best transformation scenes in anime.
That
Definitely
does
influential.
It does push Vegeta
Yeah.
because you have somebody who's so much younger and a half Saiyan who gets to a higher plane. It was one thing when the lowly peasant Kakarot was
Right.
able to obtain Super Saiyan, but now a half Saiyan has achieved second form before him.
Yeah.
So I can see that like really drove Vegeta to like train more.
Mhm. And then in other ones, it just drove Yamcha into obscurity.
Who?
Exactly.
Direct Yamcha.
But yeah, that
Okay.
fight itself, I think probably it's definitely influential on a lot of things. It's become such a significant scene in its own right, and essentially probably should have just been the end of Dragon Ball Z. Should have just ended it there instead of going.
Would've been a
on
good-
with Boo.
good
Like, I
spot
like
to
some of
end it.
this. Yeah, I like a lot of stuff in the Boo, and then they
I
do
still never finished it.
well, you can watch it in Kai, so it's like
I've
100
tried
episodes
watching it,
shorter.
and I'll get like 300 something episodes in, and I'm just like,
300.
don't
Yeah.
care.
I think Kai cuts it down to like 96, so
A lot better.
it's a lot
All right,
better.
Cody.
So this is pseudo cheating, but not cheating at the same time. It's technically a series of fights, but it's kind of the same fight. It is Rudy v Paul, 1A and 2, because they're the same fight, which is kind of like why he knows. But it ties into Rudy's fight with the North Saint guy when he's trying to help the Beast people. So like the first fight sets up a lot. We already know Paul's a scumbag, but we really learned that Paul's a fucking scumbag. I'm gonna knock my kid out so I can send him away. But it also kind of like it brings back to that light of like Rudy has never left, and Rudy's kind of freaked out about it. Like he wants a job, he wants to go off to college, but he still has this like, I'm going somewhere by myself effectively. Like it freaks him out. And they kind of like bring that up. But you see like how they fight and how they refine that into the second fight and then into the North God fight. Because like Paul has like fluency in the different fighting styles, like the Sword God, the North God, and the Water God. But like you get to see Rudy really freak out at the North Saint and be like, oh fuck, this guy is like blowing me up. Like this guy is nuts. But you see him kind of be like, okay, this is what I did with Paul. This is how I kind of go this way. And it's not very long, but it is like very visually pleasing, but also like this is the first time Rudy's actually like almost killed himself fighting someone to save some people. So you get to see Rudy kind of progress through those fights. As opposed to like, not that a lot of shonen fights, you know, are bad or anything, but like thinking of Black Clover, I can't think of an Asta fight where it's like, that's the one that he has something with, other than the Veda, the big beast guy, where he loses his arms.
And he did Black Meteorite for the first time.
I think this is the issue with when we get into shonens, is because there's such a like overarching series.
Yeah.
That I think most of the time they don't have much of an end in mind whenever they start them.
Yeah.
It's because like no matter what they do, at some point that's not going to be good enough for the next person that they fight, and they're going to have to find a way to one up that.
Yeah.
So the entire series is like, yeah, that was good, but it was completely ineffective. Like one thing, it's the issue I ultimately had with a lot of like the Star Wars universe and like the later movies, is because it's like, you know, first one it's like Death Star, it was great, loved it. They blew it up. It's like, okay, like what's the issue? It's like, oh, they were building a second one anyways. So it's like, okay, so we got to take that to get rid of that, or we're good. Then it's like, you know, what is it?
Starkiller.
Force Awakens.
Yeah, Starkiller base.
Out, and you got Starkiller base. And it's like now we can wipe out entire solar systems, and then we get to the thing where it's just like, really one of the things I really hate the most is like in the Rise of Skywalker, you have all of this fleet of Star Destroyers that come out, and each one is equipped with a beam that can destroy a planet.
Yeah.
And so it's constantly like one-upsmanship.
Yeah, that was pretty dumb.
It's just like, it's like, okay, well, we already had a base that could wipe out an entire solar system. What next? And it's like, okay, what if we had the Death Star? Like, we already had that one. It's like, but what if we condensed it down to a gun and then put it on a fleet of Star Killers, or Star Destroyer ships?
Like every Star Destroyer becomes a Death Star, essentially.
All right, and so like now this fleet is taking off of like hundreds of Star Destroyers that each one can just wipe out a planet. And so it's just that constantly like, okay,
all right, yeah,
whatever,
just
one-upsmanship. It's all it is. I feel like that's why it's really hard to maybe pull from some of these shonens, because of that. You know, it's gonna get one upped.
Yeah, there's always gonna be a bigger fight, basically. Like, yeah. But what about you, Seve? What for your two characters? Like, what are you thinking?
So, at first, I wanted to go with the fight with Todoroki and Deku in the tournament. That was my first one I wanted to go with, because it's really showing like Midoriya pushing himself past his limits and everything like that, past what he can do. But it's a huge thing for Todoroki. It's the first time he really like unleashes his fire side. So that was what I was originally going with, but after giving it some thought, I think I might go, and this is because like it's pretty huge for all the characters involved, is the fight with Hero Killer Stain. Because you get a lot of character development from Ida.
Yeah.
You know, he's going down a pretty dark path. He like is able to actually see how he fucked up, and it's his determination for revenge and how negatively it affected the people in his life and everything like that. You see the repercussions of that and how he holds that pretty dear in later seasons. Like whenever I think was it when Bakugo gets kidnapped and they're going undercover or something like that, he's like, okay, I'm going with you, but we are not interfering. Like, he's like, I went down this path. I see how bad it was, and I'm not letting you guys do this again.
Right.
Basically, because it's like, I did this, I was wrong. And I think because he even like goes and apologizes to Deku and Todoroki. Like, I think when they're in a hospital, right?
Yeah.
So like that's how, you know, it's important because you've got it teaches Ida a lot of stuff. Then like, you know, it's Deku is really getting. I think this is one of the first instances where with his powers, he is being a hero. He is running forward. He is outmatched, outclassed, but people need his help, and so he is not going to stop. And I mean, you even see that because that's the whole thing with Stain. Like, the only person he declared worthy enough to take him out was going to be All Might. That's the only one. That's the only hero he respected enough for that. But whenever it came down and Deku was almost hurt, Stain saved him because he then respected Deku as and considered him he allowed him to be a hero. You know, Todoroki, you know, that's the thing with the fight before is like he used his fire against Deku, but he was so ashamed of it he didn't use it in the next fight against what's his name? Bakugo. So I think in that fight, that life and death fight that they had, he was using his ice, but he then had to use the heat to cool the other side down so he could keep using ice, keep him away when he got close. And I think that got him to the point where he saw that, you know, the power he got from his father doesn't mean that he's going to be like his father, and that he can use the power he got, but still strive to be better than him. And then I would say that half the villains get, you know, the huge character boosts because of the stuff Stains said. And that resonated with a lot of villains, which then ended up causing the League to eventually form. So I feel like the importance between like characters, I feel like that was pretty huge for them.
Yeah, I mean, that's like a huge pivotal moment, like not necessarily just for Todoroki, but like that main kind of trio. And Ida, like, is being kind of a pseudo side character, like slash main character in that arc is very, like, he does a lot in that fight, like growing wise and like seeing what's happening. I'd say out of the My Hero fights, yeah, that's definitely like one of the more important ones. Yeah, My Hero. There you go, My Hero fans. We finally did it. So the next one is importance on the story. Dean, do you have a specific fight you're thinking of that's story related?
No, come back to me.
Seve, do you have one? I have
So,
one if
like,
you don't. So
my thought on this category was like this had a huge impact on the overall story of the show, of the anime, and like the repercussions, and like it ripples throughout the series because it is a pivotal thing. Without it, like, we really would not have, the story would not be where it is or what it is. And I want to come up with a different one, but
I mean, if you want to think, I've got I think a weird one.
I want to come up. I would like to come up with a different one, just because when I think about something like this,
Are you gonna pick the Todoroki Deku or Deku Stain fight?
no, the one that pops up in my mind is the final All Might versus
Yeah. All
One
for
for
one,
All,
or yeah,
You
that
know,
All
one.
for One, whichever one he
I get
is.
them backwards.
Fight, because I mean that United States of Smash was just like chilling,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
but then at the end, you know, the world sees how run down All Might has become. He used the last of his powers to finally like defeat this guy, and he, like, the last thing, like, you know, he says, he turns to like the world watching, and it's like, it's up to you now, speaking to Deku.
Yeah.
And like that was the end. Like up to that point, it was one of those things like, we still got All Might. Even whenever he gave the power, like, he still had the residual power in him for so long that he could like still do stuff, like the Nobu fight.
Yeah.
You know, he could still fucking toss hands. But now, like, the catch-all, the no matter what, we've got All Might, like, it's gone.
Mm.
Mhm.
Like it really shakes the world. Like, you even see it because like the crime rates start increasing and all this other stuff. Like they talk about it. Like, I feel like for the importance of the story in this world, that fight is just massive. And I don't want to do like two My Heroes in a row, but like whenever I think about something that has like an importance on the story like that, that's the first thing that comes to mind for me.
That's a good one. Like, it is, like, out of My Hero, that's probably like one of the definitive moments for sure. And just, like, just in general, like, I don't think I can pick anything that's almost as important as that in any other anime I can think of. Yeah, I mean, just seeing All Might kind of cease to exist in that moment, like, at least in his like normal public form, is like, oh yeah, this is like goosebumps. Yeah, like, oh shit, we're fucked. We don't have a hero. But it gives like, there is a big sense of desperation and kind of the passing of the torch. But it is like really cool the way it is also set up Endeavor's rise, and Endeavor kind of like, oh shit, I'm here now. I have to like stop being a dickhead and like actually be kind of a good guy.
He's like, this isn't how I wanted it either.
Yeah.
He's like, he doesn't really feel that he earned it because it was just given to him.
So yeah. So that, man, if I don't want to do two My Heroes in a row, if anything, I would just have to change the previous one from being the Hero Stain Hero Killer fight to Mustang versus Greed.
That's a fucking good one.
Because like the importance,
talk about emotion,
and it's not even necessarily the importance between like Mustang and Greed, but
it's the emotion in between them.
The emotion, that, and then you've got what's her name? Hawkeye.
Yeah.
With him.
Yeah.
And like,
she's dumbfounded.
Yeah, she's like, oh fuck.
She had to pull him out of it. Like,
yeah.
That whole thing, like, Mustang had lost himself, and she's the one that pulled him back in.
Fucking Mustang.
And I think that was pretty important, like, character-wise between them, because that was the whole thing. Was the flame alchemy was something that her father had created. She entrusted Mustang with that, with the stipulation that the only record of it was on her back, and he burned that off of her. Yeah. And so, like, that's huge trust in someone. And then, like, it's because of that she was able to, I think, pull Mustang and rein him back in. And I feel I don't feel like I could have a list of like favorite fights where I have 2 My Heroes and not a single Brotherhood one on here.
I mean, the same deal. There's like a lot of good fights in there. I fucking forgot about.
But when I
feel so bad about that.
I'm thinking like the most emotional like fight, like that. I almost wanted to say importance on story, and like while it is important that he like took out a homunculus and stuff like that, I don't feel like it stacks up quite the same way as All Might fight.
Yeah, I mean, because All Might like changes the entire like show after that.
Yes,
like the entire world of My Hero changes, whereas like you don't really have much change in Full Metal Alchemist after that. Like it is very those intimate moments.
Yeah, at this point in time, I think a lot of the fighting was essentially almost done in secret. It was like the secret war that the average like population like just didn't know that was happening.
Yeah, it's all behind the scenes. Up until like they take over like headquarters or whatever. But yeah, no, that's God. I can't believe I fucking forgot about Full Metal Alchemist. Oh, there's so good.
Oh, yeah. So sorry. So your importance on story.
So I was gonna pick a Code Geass fight because like I feel like there are a lot of good fights in that as well, and like we've not had a mecha fight yet. And I'll still like is a kind of successor contender, like as the secondary backup, whatever. The last fight, the Gurren versus the Lancelot Albion in like episode 23 or 24.
I'll eventually watch it.
It's a banger. Like it is good, but it completes the final step of Aleutia's plan, basically. Like you get the kind of like what Dean was talking about earlier with people having contingencies. That's the whole show, basically. But this is where like you feel it, and you're like, oh shit, this did not go the way I expected.
Yeah. What about a mecha fight that didn't have any contingencies?
There's a lot. There's a bunch of Gundam fights I'll throw out there.
Lock on.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, any of the 00 fights. There's a bunch of good 00 fights too. But I'm gonna pick a kind of an old one that I watched recently that seems very weird, and it's from Zapang. Short 10-word description. Modern day missile destroyer. That's one word. World War II, basically. So yeah, JSDF missile destroyer gets sent back to World War II, and they have to like kind of balance. Their whole perspective is we have to preserve life, but we're in World War II. Do we kill Japanese people, even though they're imperialist Japanese people, or do we kill the Americans who made us the way we are today? And there's a fight towards the end of it, kind of fight, if you will. The missile destroyers trying to get to Japan to rearm and kind of replenish its supplies and whatnot. And this is the only time they run into the Americans for the most part, and the Wasp-like carrier is in the area and sends out an air wing. And the Japanese kind of facilitate this a little bit because a lot of the Japanese don't like the Mirai, so they're like, this weird future ship's a bad omen, we want to sink it, we want to get rid of it. So you have like this really interesting thing of these really hardened World War II fighter pilots dive bombing this modern day missile carrier that is just tearing them apart left and right. But it's all filled with these like non-experienced modern day Japanese Defense Force guys that don't want to kill these people. They're like, just leave us the fuck alone, but they have to, take their steps. And like everyone on board is kind of struggling with this like mental conundrum as they're like, I don't want to die either, and it's a whole thing. But it's really well done in the story as a way of like pushing them over the edge of like, you cannot really be neutral anymore. You cannot walk this line of trying not to change history. You have already changed history. You have to defend yourself. And like they take some losses and everything, but it is really what shapes what happens to the rest of that show. And really is the payoff to what the initial concept is. Yeah. It's like, it's a really minuscule, or not minuscule, it's a very like unwatched anime. Like, it's very underrated. And it didn't get its second season, unfortunately, way back in the day, but it is really a unique fight that has a lot of really serious implications for the rest of that series. Yeah, so if you haven't watched Sepang, anyone out there that likes military history, it's good.
Nice.
Dean, do you have
Yep.
your pick? Okay, good. What is it?
Because I don't want to do Dragon Ball again, I will do. I'll probably do One Piece,
Oh, okay.
which I know,
Yeah, shonen, but
which
We'll
is
do
still
it.
shonen, but so I know I know neither one of y'all have seen it, but
Yeah, because I feel like Dragon Ball Z is actually one of the few that actually has. You can probably chalk up some maybe 5 fights that have like a huge impact on story.
right, it's like
because
it's like
you've got
Frieza
Frieza
versus Goku,
got
its
Cell.
transformation, you got Cell.
Honestly, I'd say the Frieza and Cell ones are like the 2 biggest impact on story
yeah, for
ones.
sure.
Yeah,
Like you have the Vegeta one, which is kind of. I'm a little hesitant because like it's kind of important, but like I don't feel like it stacks up to the same as like
It doesn't
Frieza
have.
Cell.
It's like Frieza. It's like, okay, this is like the ultimate bad guy, and it's like, oh, and then you have Cell, and it's like he's a bad guy, but it's more focused on Gohan's character development than it is
Yeah.
anything else. And that's crazy, important.
But that's what I'm saying. Like most shonens, yeah, I don't feel like you can have
Yeah.
certain ones like that. But I would say DBZ is one of the few because I feel like I can chalk it up to like 2 main fights in DBZ
Yeah.
that changed the course of the story.
This one I think it changes most of it. Kind of just sets them. It's a story point changing. It's Luffy versus Lucci, which I know you don't know who those characters are, but so in the world of One Piece, you have the pirates, which they want to do their own thing, and then the overall, it's called the world government, and they're the one that made the laws. They're in control of everything, and the pirates are fighting the world government. They're not most of them aren't fighting them directly. Like, they won't just go out and sink marine ships. There's a resistance movement which is directly opposing the world government, and they'll just like attack marine ships on sight. Most of the time pirates just want to do what they want, which is what Luffy's like the epitome of freedom. He wants to go out and do what he wants. And in this fight, the world government has captive. They're going to execute one of the crew members. She was like they have their own, world government has their own like secret service and stuff like that, and she was a part of it, and then she opposed it to go join Luffy, and so they're going to kill her. But the reason why like this fight was pivotal in my mind, why it stuck out, is Luffy's basically on his own. He doesn't have any help. He doesn't really have anybody with him, because everyone else is fighting other members of this of this group. So everyone's doing their own thing, and he's fighting this guy. And he's fighting someone he knows he's weaker than. And it was the introduction of second gear, like when he basically uses his body to pump his blood faster or whatever it is, which shortens his lifespan, but it increases his speed. He basically goes like Kaioken, basically. And it was the first time that happens, and he just kind of like pulls it out. Like he's getting his ass kicked. Like it's not a one-sided. It's not a equal fight, because this guy's just like beating his ass, and then he gets shots in there, and like really the only thing he had was his own strength that he could get upon, and he ended up being able to go into second gear, and then he used like a pseudo third gear to beat him, and like he's collapsed on the floor, extreme exhaustion, and he was able to get back up. But like
they one thing that sets it as pivotal to change the story is when they go to the judicial island that they took her crewmate to. It's a pretty important scene. And they're there and they're demanding Robin back. And they say no. And so Luffy just tells Usopp, which is their like sniper, he's like, all right, just burn their flag. So Usopp instantly just fucking shoots a fireball at the world government's flag and burns it, which is basically just declaring war on the world government. And it's just like, oh, fuck. That's super badass. And so basically it just instantly like marks them as like top priority. Like, all right, fuck the Straw Hat Pirates, like in the government's eyes. So it's like a big turning point in that, you know, they beat the fight and their bounty like exceeds like, it like doubles. Like it's, and then every member of the Straw Hat Pirates has a bounty at that point. So like that's pretty important.
Yeah. Didn't most of that
no,
fight take place in the hardware store?
the hardware store.
Yeah. You had Luffy versus like Lucha's doors.
Yeah, Lucha's doors. Yeah.
And he was like just like you know, doing lots of like flips and stuff off of the top rope. He had the mask on.
Luchadors. Yeah. Yeah.
More of a wrestling style than just like a brawler.
If no one has made like a luchador themed door store, they're missing out. It's a big market, guys. Let's go.
All right, so that's importance on stories. We got three others we're gonna talk on real fast. I do have to pick up Hunter.
Oh shit.
So I'm gonna start timing
Okay.
on these.
Like.
So we're gonna start keeping these a little bit shorter
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
for these last ones. So we're on to like a beautiful animation.
Hell yeah.
Like I'm sure there's probably quite a few for like a beautifully animated. I'm a little bit torn between Mob Psycho 100. It's amazing, beautifully animated. But I think there's a fight in Fire Force, and it's one of the first fights in Fire Force where I'm just like, holy fuck, this animation right now. And it's when Shinra's versus fighting Karin for the first time, and he's just like,
Yeah.
they're just like tearing through buildings and everything like that, and like that was the scene, that was the fight scene that when watching this I was like, holy shit, this animation is phenomenal.
Yeah.
In this fight.
A banger.
So I feel like from the get-go with Mob Psycho, the animation was just like off the charts. So for just a single fight that is just like, that's the one that stands out to me, is that fight right there.
Hell yeah.
Cody?
I'm gonna pick a Fire Force fight too.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Are you gonna pick one, dude?
I was gonna say Shinra versus Show.
Oh, okay. So yeah, we'll do fuck it. All Fire Force for this one. I was gonna pick Benjimaru versus the demon, where he flies him up in the air and you get like the cool fucking explodey sound effect. Yeah, like that last like couple of frames of that fight, just chef's kiss. But it's so like there's so many fucking crisp fights of that. Like, but that's that one, the Benjimaru flying the guy.
We're all
up.
doing Fire Force, then I'll go ahead and just say
Blow him up.
mine is Mob Psycho then.
Okay, there we go. Fire Force fucking slaps. It's so good.
Pretty fucking good.
Yeah, except for Tamaki, she kind of isn't, but everything else good.
And then Dean, yours was the final fight between brothers in the first season.
Yeah. Other than that, you know, it'd be like it wouldn't really count because DBZ Broly was a movie, but so they had movie production money. But yeah, like Shinra versus Show. You know, I just like how they focused a lot on sound as well in that one, and I don't know, I just remember being pretty blown away, like, oh damn, this is really really good.
It was good. I did enjoy it. but like the reason I chose that one was just because that was the first fight when watching that series that just like was like it blew me away on
Yeah.
the animation and like the time and the quality they put into it.
Yeah, like so many good fights.
I mean, they also
Yeah.
have the anti-spiral fight in Gurren Lagann because that was just ridiculous shit. Like,
Yeah.
you've
Yeah,
got
maybe I'll
huge
watch it.
like universal-sized drills and like.
Oh, there's so many good ones.
Yeah, there's a lot. You can even go with the like the final fight in One Punch.
Oh,
as
yeah.
well, was another one that was just great, beautiful animation. And once again, I feel like you get a lot of that stuff in JJK as well.
Yeah.
But I think we've already established our love for JJK.
Yeah, I don't think that's in question.
So artistic fight.
Okay,
Does anybody
before we
have
even
anything-
get to like people saying opinions, how many people here are gonna pick a Demon Slayer fight?
Fuck.
Because that like I'm gonna change it because I mean that's the obvious
okay.
one, obviously. If you aren't picking a
Okay.
demon, like if everyone's picking Demon Slayer, I've got a backup. But Demon Slayer's so fucking fancy looking.
Yeah. So I mean, at least for me, the one I was going with was Tanjiro versus the hand demon, which was the one he first comes across whenever they're having to make it through the forest, and they put the low level demons and they cleanse them out every time. And he's the one that had been
yeah.
killing off what's his name?
Yeah, his master
Student.
guys. Yeah, okay.
For years. Because like that's the first time you usually see Tanjiro going up against a demon after his training has been done, and like the water dance style that he's doing and like the flourish and the waves of it all, like artistically I just thought was just amazing. I thought it
shit
was super
slaps.
cool. So that's the one I was going with.
Dean, do you have one?
Uh,
The Demon Slayer fight?
it was. We've already talked about that one because it was against the Spider Boys.
Okay, yeah, Spider Demon's a good one, yeah, for sure. If you're looking for one, I've got a couple that I think would be.
I'm trying to remind my brain.
Yeah, I was looking at Mal while Steffi was talking to be like, what the fuck? The Helsing Ultimate fight where Alucard just lets it all out.
Yeah,
That
against
like
Walter.
well, I mean, I guess you can kind of count that last fight as a series of fights because he does the like level 0 shit where like all of those dead people he's killed come
Yeah.
out.
Pretty crazy.
Yeah, and then like his fight with Anderson and his fight with Walter all kind of like flow in together.
Yeah.
That is some fucking wild shit. Like there Alucard does some weird fucking blood people thing. He does his like dog arm bullshit. He goes all out. I still will say like Demon Slayer visually is a like consistent artistic style, probably hard to beat, but that one is a fucking yeah,
If I had to do
sexy for sure.
maybe like a runner up from a different series, it would probably be what the fuck was the dude's name?
I don't know.
He went by. Let's see if I can find something to remind me of what his name was. Was it? I want to say it was in season 4 of My Hero. Yeah, the fight that Deku had with Chisaki, the like overload or whatever his name was.
A big muscle man?
No, not him. The plague doctor mask wearing dude
That guy.
Who-
Okay.
could like take the powers from others and stuff like that, or absorb like that. Because like Deku is like going at full percentage and he's able to do it without killing himself with the help of the girl.
Eri or Ari or
Yeah.
whatever her name is.
And like like from the artistic standpoint, like the color and stuff I think is like a huge thing for me. Like you just like he was this glowing bright green like Flash almost. So like if I had to choose something other than Demon Slayer, I think that might be up there on the list. Because that was one that was just, I thought was just like it had beautiful animation, but I really feel like they really put a lot of like effort into like the choreography, like artistically how they handled a lot of that.
Yeah, like for Deku fights, that's a hard one to top.
Artistic visual one that we haven't talked about.
Oh.
No, I'm trying to think. I was trying to think like one that we haven't talked about. 'Cause we keep talking about My Hero, and we keep talking because it's like,
I mean,
it's like Deku versus Overhaul, like in that whole thing with Eri on his back, like that was insane.
If you want,
I'll do it later.
I'll throw you an idea. Any Fate fight. All those fucking Fate
like
fights are
Berserk.
flashy as hell. Yeah,
Berserker. Oh man. I mean, or
those shits go off.
or you could just do when Ava 1 went Berserk.
Oh, that's a good fight too.
I'll go with that. I think I'll go with Ava 1 from Evangelion going Berserk.
Yeah.
Just to
or
break up, so I don't have multiple ones on here.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever watch Bungo Stray Dogs?
No,
No,
I've heard of
seen
it,
the
but I don't
clips,
know what
though.
it is.
There is, it's like some of these people, like essentially they have powers and whatnot, and there is a character named Chuya who essentially like has like some like power over gravity and everything, and he's essentially fighting the equivalent of an elder god. And it's a pretty fucking buck wild fight. It's pretty solid in my opinion. So
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Bungo straight out. Middle note.
Bungo.
Bungo.
all right.
Gilgamesh versus Berserker. God, such a good. I need to watch.
Yes,
And then
just throw any
what
fucking
was
Fate
yours?
fight. They're so good.
What was yours, Cody?
Oh god, I don't fucking remember. What did I say? What was this? Is for artistic?
Yeah.
Oh, Helsing.
Hellsing,
Alucard
okay.
just
Yeah.
doing everything.
I need
No
to watch
restraints.
the actual Hellsing
Instead of Helsing
Sure.
Abridged.
because that's the only thing I've seen is Hellsing Abridged.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's-
it ain't that far off. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I mean, they made it funnier, but it's
One slight unrelated tangent.
Yeah.
Hunter had gotten some stuff the other day. Like she'd ordered some stuff online
Yeah.
and it got in, and she'd gotten like big round, like red tinted, like sunglasses and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I was
Alucard
just
glasses.
like, why? And she's like, I don't know. Cosplay. I'm like, who would you cosplay as? She goes, sometimes you just get the piece first and then you work it out later. I'm just like,
She's gonna
okay.
cosplay Alucard.
she's like, I can be a vampire. And I was just like, oh, so you could be like, Alucard and stuff? And she's like, it's like, yeah, I could do that. I'm like, only if I get to be your police girl. And then I was like, I heard Motley Crue with my vampire here.
God damn it.
She
Love
said she
that
was
so
down
much.
for it. So
Hell
Hell
yeah. We have to get new cosplay because I'm too fat. So
Now we have to do fat characters.
yeah. Oh hell yeah!
I could
Calling
be
dibs on
the-
Choji. Let's go.
big bellied police girl.
Big belly.
Instead of
The
big titted
girl
police
with
girl.
the big bellies.
All right. So
Influenced
we
others.
kind of talked a little bit about it. So for me, I gotta go. I'm gonna go way back for the influence, and
shit.
it's gonna be Yusuke versus
So far back.
Toguro.
Nogoro. Absolutely.
I feel like that was just such a pivotal and integral fight that, like, going back and looking at it, it's not like something that's like, oh, this was crazy and everything like that. But I feel like everything leading up to it and how it happened and what all went down, it's I think that inspired so much going on because, like, you already have that, like, Yusuke is like already pissed
Mhm.
because he'd already killed Genkai.
Yep.
Big sad.
He's already beaten the
Sad.
shit out of Yusuke.
Yeah. Already.
and then he like seemingly then kills Kuwabara,
Mhm.
which I know like he's Yusuke cares about like Hiei and Kurama and stuff like that. But like, Kuwabara was somebody that from before he died,
Yeah.
in his human life that like he knew. So I feel like there's a little bit more there. And Kuwabara is the only other human
Right.
involved with those. So I feel like you've got all of that to building up. And I think you get that pushing past your limit. Like you got nothing else, and then like you get that like you get like the limit break sort of a thing. And I feel that we see that coming back a lot. Even just, I mean, the Dark Demon tournament arc itself is the thing that spurred tournament arcs in anime.
Yeah.
So for me, I just can't think of anything else that is so like influential to anime as a whole when it comes to fights as that fight for me.
Hell yeah. Yeah. Okay, Dean, do you have one picked out?
Sorry,
You're good.
putting stuff on my poison ivy.
Ah.
Oh, that got worse, by the way.
Oh, Jesus. Your poison
Yeah,
ivy, the
it's
ultimate
pretty-
enemy.
It's pretty bad. I've never had it before. Because I think last time we recorded, it was like 2 spots. Now it's like all over my arm.
Yeah.
Um,
Has your fight with poison ivy influenced your future fights with poison ivy?
it influences how much I fucking hate it.
Was your fight with Poison Ivy influenced by the fight with you Yusuke Urameshi and
Yeah.
Toguro?
Yes. Dean's living that fight right now.
If I was to do influential, if I want to go back to Dragon Ball, I'll just do Dragon Ball, and it's Goku versus Piccolo at the end of the Dragon Ball run.
Okay, gotcha.
When it's Piccolo Junior,
Not King Piccolo.
not King Piccolo.
Yeah,
I mean, that one was pretty good too, but I would say
in the final season of Dragon Ball, whenever they're in the
he's like 18.
World Martial Arts Tournament.
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
I would say that one. Because that one, for the show at the time, it just went like all out.
That is true. Yeah.
Like most of it was pretty grounded, and this one is kind of like, oh shit, like they're going insane, and then it's more of a fight you would see in Z, but at the time, like there was anything like that.
Nothing close to that. Yeah.
No, it was because Dragon Ball was more grounded as much as it was pretty like fantasy and shonen. But I would say that one was pretty influential. Just seeing how it all progressed and kind of cementing the characters for what was to come after that, because that was Goku, and like before that, that's when Goku like met Chi-Chi again, and he agreed to get married even though he didn't know what marriage was. He thought it was a cake.
Goku.
But because he's an idiot. But
The original himbo.
But yeah, the original himbo. All he wants to do is fight.
For himbos, by himbos.
I'd say Goku versus Piccolo Jr.
All right.
Then Piccolo. Piccolo loses, but then he gets his revenge because but 4 years later he gets to kill Goku.
Win-win.
He wins. He's like, oh, I finally get to do this.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. But I feel like it kind of takes away some of it. He's like, go ahead. Like, I'm giving you permission. You're allowed to kill me now. It's like,
kill me now. Okay.
all right, this is not really how I imagined it going.
Take
It's
the
like,
fun out of it.
I'm gonna do it anyway because I wanted to,
Yeah.
but I will.
I'm doing this not because you told me to, but because I chose to do it myself.
I've been waiting 4 years for this.
Yeah. I did make this attack especially just to kill you, but like it's whatever. Yeah, we can kill your brother with it too, I guess.
2 birds, 1 stone. Whatever, it's fine.
I'm also stealing your kid afterwards.
Yeah.
I'm its
This is
real
mine.
dad. This is basically.
Honestly, Piccolo, not a terrible father.
Yeah, pretty good father. Better than Goku.
For being like a demon
I mean,
alien
yeah,
thing, he's killing it.
yeah, he kind of like abandoned him, but he didn't even really abandon him. He still watched over him when he was just
Yeah.
out there in the wilderness.
Mhm.
But yeah, okay, so Cody,
Took care of his granddaughter
influential
too.
fight.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, it's Grandpa
Took
Piccolo.
Caravan. Grandpa Piccolo.
So for influential, I kind of had a hard one because I don't remember a lot of older fights, and it's like I haven't gone back to rewatch a lot of older stuff. And I feel like maybe Naruto's not been out long enough to not influence only Boruto. So I was like, fuck it, I'm going back. I'm going to a Gundam fight, oddly enough.
That's where I was guessing.
Yeah, hell yeah. The Tuggies versus the Heavy Arms and like kind of the first portion of Wing.
Hell yeah.
It's like as a whole on Gundam doesn't necessarily influence a lot, but it influences a lot of double O fights because there's not a lot like Zex Marquis kind of changes Char clones because they're really like he was kind of the first, at least for the West, and there's not really a big similar version in G Gundam. So this is the first time a Char clone just gets to fuck off and do whatever he wants, basically. Like in the original Mobile Suit Gundam, Zeta, Double Zeta, all that. Your Char Aznable in this instance is still kind of hindered by like he has people above him and he's still in the military. So he has like he can go do missions, but he kind of has to get a little bit of permission first. Whereas like Zex Marquis is like, I want to fight that Gundam again. Hey, go find that Gundam kid. Let's fix this Gundam. I want to fight him. And then they just do it. And the rest of the government's like, what the fuck are you doing? No, and try to attack him. But it influences Graham Acre and Mr. Bushido in Double O, where he's like, yeah, I've got a special license. They're like, hey, do you want to help with this? And he's like, nah, fuck off. I'm bored. Like, I'm going to go do something else. And he goes and finds the Double O and fights it instead. Or like he goes and fights the Exia for like no real reason. There's no tactical purpose. He's like, I want to fight it. I want to see that Gundam again. Let's go.
So it kind of like helps solidify like the archetype that is in it for the challenge. He doesn't care who it is.
Exactly. Yeah. Like there's
he considers himself as one of the strongest, and if there's somebody that could pose like even if it's like a minuscule amount of like effort from him, like it's worth it.
Yeah, like
'cause that's kind of how Toto is in a lot of ways, where he's just like,
yeah, I would say
you're gonna put up a good fight, let's do it. Like there's so many of them that are just like, I'm just here to fight.
Yeah,
I want to fight somebody, and I want to see how strong you are.
Basically, yeah. Like it is a challenge for them that they don't get in normal fights. So they're like, okay, this person can actually fight me at a like reasonable level. And like those are really the only two you get that with for the most part. Like there are other Char clones that kind of act independently. Like you kind of have it in Iron Blooded Orphans season 1 a little bit. But like those are the iconic ones. Those are like, oh, Zex Marquis is not a Char clone because he's like blonde haired and wears a mask. It's like he just fucks off and does what he wants. He kind of stands on his own, and Graham Acre to a certain degree does the same thing. So yeah, Tuggies Heavy Arms, great fight.
Oh yeah, and we managed to get through our list.
Hell yeah, we did it. Yeah, so we're not gonna do IMDb. Not that anyone cares, but we'll be doing something else. You'll see next week, probably, maybe. But yeah, let us know your comments in the thoughts in the comments below. Did we miss some fights? I'm sure we did. Did we not do enough Demon Slayer fights or Fire Force fights? Because I think we did a pretty good number.
Well, we missed some fights because we're trying not to spoil things for some people.
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't even think about that. Get fucked, people. You deal with it.
No, I mean for you. Like there's some stuff in Shippuden that.
Oh, okay. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you for being more thoughtful than I am.
I like seeing your reactions whenever we record.
There's some good shit. Yeah. So comments, likes, do the YouTube shit, people. If you're listening to audio, do whatever people do on Spotify. I don't fucking know.
I work.
Yeah, continue to work on Spotify. Yeah, don't stop. Keep working. We're background.
I work and listen to it.
Yeah. But yeah, so we've been the Weeb Trash Podcast. We will be back next week. Thanks for listening, folks. Goodbye.